Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all keeping well. So Tottenham Hotspur have just beaten Norwich City 3-0 in the Premier League. A wonder goal from Lucas Moura. Even Davinson Sanchez got on the score sheet, and Heung-min Son scoring another goal after his goal on Thursday evening at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That is now 10 points from a possible 12 in the Premier League under Antonio Conte, including 3 clean sheets. 4 wins out of 4 home games in all competitions under the new boss. The energy is back. The positivity is back. The smiles are back. Even on this stream, they're back. And back-to-back wins in the Premier League. 5 goals this week. 2 clean sheets. Antonio Conte has improved a number of players already in his first month in charge. The fans are enjoying singing his name at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and he is regarded today as a good day, and Spurs are up to 5th. I've got 3 very, very special guests to discuss today's game against Norwich. I've got Frank Major, I've got Darren Hart, and I've also got Ricky Norwood. Frank, let's come to you first. Your thoughts on today's game?
Well, it was a good result. If we look within the performance, I thought the first half was actually pretty poor, if we're being totally honest. It would have been a different dynamic if Pukki put that early chance away. But as you said, you cannot complain at a 3-0 victory. Norwich are a pretty poor side. But if we're winning 3-0 and we're not getting out of first gear, which is what happened today, then I'll take that as a massive positive. And I think you've hit the nail on the head, Chris, with what you said just before we came live. And that is the feeling around the club since the appointment of Antonio Conte. I've never known a managerial appointment in my lifetime where unanimously the whole fan base is fully behind this man. It didn't happen when we appointed Pochettino. He was relatively unknown. I know he'd done a good job at Southampton, but that has helped the unity and the positivity around Spurs at the moment. And I'm not going to get too ahead of myself over the last 4 games because of the opposition will get a lot better. But there are so many positives as a team. We look more drilled, and there's some individual positive performances as well. We'll get onto it, but the likes of Ben Davies, he's improved over the last few games significantly. Sonny, his home form, he's back. He went for a little bit of a mini slump in recent form, but lots of positives, Chris, and onwards and upwards. Absolutely.
I'm absolutely delighted to bring on Darren Hart, actor in the Enterprise for the BBC, the bisexual for Channel 4, called The Midwife, Game Face, lots of other different shows. Darren, delighted to have you on the show for the very first time. How did you see today's game?
You know what? I think I back Frank a lot of what he said. It's the optimism is there. We're seeing changes, we're seeing improvements. We can't get ahead of ourselves. Like Tottenham, we love our club, we love what it does to us. It lights fireworks in us. We all get excited. We start dreaming big. Let's slow it down. Let's slow this right down. I'm crawling with this one. I'm not allowing myself to get overexcited. All the mechanics need to be in place before I get overexcited. But Ben Davies has been a revelation for me. I'm backing Ben. I'm big bad Ben. I'm backing him all the way. He's going to be the most flairish, most excited left-sided centre half we're going to see, and that's how I'm going to get. That's where I'm going to peak today. No further than that. But gentlemen, I'm happy with today's result. I'm happy to see a little bit more grit about us today, and I'm glad to see Skipp looking like the Skipp that was at Norwich when he was on loan, and I think that was interesting to see him put in a shift where seeing him do the forward passing. Because that's what we were looking for in our midfield. And he was doing that today. And he looked happy in his performance. And that's what I want to see from our Spurs. I want to see the boys looking happy. The fans are getting happier. The manager looks like he's having that football. And yeah, glory days could be back. But let's take our time. Let's take our time.
We've also got my good friend Ricky Norwood on the show again. Ricky, so nice for you to join us again. Of course, actor, former EastEnder. You've got a new film out as well. Tell us all about your new film before we talk about the football.
Well, we've got it's a Christmas film out on Netflix right now called The Princess Switch 3. So I was in number 2, that was out last year. 3 has just dropped. So it's a great Christmas movie, available now on Netflix for everybody to enjoy. So do that as well. And Darren also has a film out called Pirates that has just dropped. It's Reggie Yates' film. So that is just dropped in cinemas as well. So yeah, man, like it's a positive December for us all, my friend. Positive December for us all.
You're getting carried away like me as well, Ricky, aren't you?
Yeah, man. Come on. Are you joking? Listen, look, Tottenham will give us so many headaches and heartaches throughout seasons upon seasons. They've done it and they'll do it. And I'm one to embrace the good times. While it's good, while we're cooking, it's like, look, embrace it. Like, be happy. I'm not one to be bantering opposition fans, you know, about where they are or what they're doing. I'm all about Spurs. I love my club. I don't like slagging them off. I don't like, you know, negatively criticizing them anytime. So, you know, I always do it through gritted teeth, you know, and if the truth is there, and then it's got to be said. But while it's all happy, while we're moving forward, while we've got progression, while we've got a plan, you know, we're seeing patterns of play. Like, he's only been there, Conte's only been there 4 weeks, and straight away we've got a bit of an identity. Like, us fans can look at it and go, all right, look, we know what's happening here. We know the wing backs are going to be bombing on. We know how dynamic our front three are, and they're being allowed to express themselves right now because they've got confidence in what's behind them. Like Darren was saying there about Skippy. I mean, Skippy's a revelation. He was everywhere. He was everywhere, not just today, but against Brentford as well. It's like, you know, he's going to be loving life under Conte, and all of these players are. There's that 11 out there today, and you know, I know Royal wasn't there today, but that 11, 12, 13 that played, you know, you could see straight away the energy, the dynamism, the like Darren said there, the grit. You know, like there's all of this that we've been missing for so long. So why can't we enjoy it? Enjoy it, boys. Do you know what I mean? Like, get carried away this week. Let's see what happens next week. We know it's always going to be a bumpy ride. We know we always do it the hard way. So while it's good, have a smile on your face, man. Like, let's go. Let's get the champagne popping.
It's so nice to see everyone smiling on this stream. It really is. You know, it's been a really good week. Frank, let's come to you. Why can't the likes of me and Ricky get carried away by these results under Antonio Conte? He's been here for 1 month. He has transformed this team already. He has got us keeping clean sheets. He's got the likes of Lucas Moura scoring goals again. He's got the likes of Davinson Sanchez playing well. He's got the likes of Ben Davies playing well in a Tottenham Hotspur shirt consistently. And we are getting results.
Because he's Spurs. and no, in all seriousness, there's been notable changes. I actually thought the Brentford performance was a lot better than today. I thought today, in patches, we were actually poor. And again, we conceded a few really, well, they should have taken 2 or 3 really good chances. So there are still some reservations. I still think we're shy on quality. I still think we're 2 or 3 injuries away prior to January from a potential tricky time. But there are lots of positives. I'm not going to sit on here and be negative, but the opposition, let's be honest, Everton, they're in free fall at the moment, in probably the worst form I can remember in the last few years. Leeds aren't exactly the best side. They were missing, I think, Rafinha, Bamford, they missed a few big hitters. And Brentford and Norwich, I think the Brentford win out the 4 games is the best for me, because I don't think they've conceded that XG in any league games this season. And we look brilliant. And I got a lot of stick on Twitter for saying that we still need better than the likes of Ben Davies. And you said this to me off air, Chris. If these players continue to perform as they are at the moment, even against the Brightons and the Leicesters and the Liverpools, would you be willing to give them another chance, or should they stay? Whatever Conte wants to do, I trust him. And if Ben Davies becomes a player, he actually put him in the same context as Azpilicueta today after the game. And he said that his personality, his character, his professionalism, he loves him by the sounds of things and by reading the comments. If Ben Davies goes on to have a great season, I'm pleased for him. There'll be no one happier than me. But I'm always going to be a bit of a skeptic because there are a lot of flaws in this squad. So I don't want to get carried away myself. As Ricky said, I'm not out there boasting to Arsenal or West Ham fans quite yet. But there is a lot to be positive about. I just think that we need to be balanced. We need to have perspective. And the next 3 games will tell us a lot more about this squad than the previous 3.
You're right, Frank. I'm just enjoying the moment. Darren, let's come to you. Antonio Conte said straight after the game, I feel a lot of responsibility towards our fans, and I think they have full trust in my work. To hear them singing my name, maybe it's too early. I hope in the future to deserve this. What have you made of the appointment of Antonio Conte? Because he seems to have transformed this team in his first month in charge.
It's not even a team he's transformed. It's, as everyone been saying, it's the feel around the club. Because we have someone who is a winner. We have someone who's a winner now. We've done the Mourinhos, the winners of old. We've done people who were makeshift fits in Nuno. Like, now we've got someone who is a winner, who is going to expect the best from everybody. But also what I love about Conte is he can take a player and change them. Let's think about Victor Moses when he was at Chelsea. No one saw him transforming into the left-sided wing-back that he became. And that's why I'm looking at people like Ben Davies to go, if you are the professional that I expect you to be, this is the right manager for you. This is someone who's going to push your game on. And that's why I'm excited about the project. It's not going to be a quick fix. We all know if we're true Spurs fans, we have massive problems in our squad. There are some lightweight objects. There are some players that are literally like, we can't carry them. We ain't that side anymore. We can't carry players anymore. I love Ndombele, but we can't carry him. And I think Conte is the only person I feel who is now going to go to the chairman and go, this is how it's going to work. If it doesn't work, I'm out. And right now, he's got all us fans excited by that because we believe in him. And as Frank said, if Conte says he's playing Ben Davies, okay, you play Ben Davies. I believe you. And we're going to go with it. When the performances start to get a bit rocky and he has to make decisions, he will make the decisions. And that's what I want. And that's what I'm getting. And that's why I'm in a good place right now.
Ricky, let's come to you. Antonio Conte made one change from Thursday night's game. Japhet Tanganga coming in for Emerson Royale. Was that expected? Particularly, the games are going to be coming thick and fast in December. And of course, we've got the game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Thursday against Bren in the Europa Conference League. Did you expect any changes today, or did you expect a lot of changes today?
No, not at all. I thought it would be the exact same side that we put out against Brentford. I think that's the starting 11. That's the strongest 11 there. So not seeing Royal there, I did wonder why, and then it came out that he was ill.
I think Royal and Gill have got COVID, and Ryan Mason. That's what I've heard, by the way.
Oh, really? Well, then this is where the squad comes in. So, all right. So if they've got COVID, then that means they've got to isolate. That means they'll be out for at least 10 days to 2 weeks, which is tough. But, the wing-backs, and we saw it today with Reguilon, fortunately, it wasn't an injury. It was more of a precaution that he came off, but he felt it tighten up, so he called for the sub. But our players are now working and running out of their skin right now. The demand is on them to push forward and to give more, Before, maybe under Nuno, they might have given a run and then been able to rest a little bit, but there ain't no resting in this side no more. Not with Conte around. I saw your fan cam, Chris, and I was watching Conte, and I'm just like, this guy. He was just like, he is the conductor, because he is like. There was a close up on the screen today in the second half of him talking to Lucas, and he's like, Lucas, stay there, push up, get there, go over, look, and you can only thrive off of that, and these players, there ain't no resting for them. So we are going to get little niggle injuries left, right, and centre. The wing backs they've been asked to do a lot more, so we are going to get hamstrings and little niggles here and there. So bringing in Tanganga as a rest, or as if Royal does have COVID as a sub, then all right, cool. And the same on Sessegnon. When Reguilon came off and Sess came on, there was a real determination there for him to make up for that European game, like that Moura game. So, there was a lot of fire in his belly to be like, all right, and cool, I'm in now. And especially with an injury, when an injury happens, like the expectation is put on you straight away. Like, look, we need you to go out there and we need you to do A, B, and C. And his head was on it, rather than like a rotation start.
Yeah.
Like against Moura, he came out and he had this rotation start, but he was overthinking, over-egging, wanting to, impress, but obviously just done too much and got that red card. Today, he was expected to come in and do a job, and sit like a serious job. So he came in with that fire in his belly to do well, to try and erase that Moura game and that performance. The same as Davinson Sanchez. That's why when you look at his celebration, a lot of people were saying, oh, it's a bit like Eric Cantona, or it's a bit like, to me, it was a build-up of all of that frustration. Like, it was a release of all of that frustration. It was a release to kind of go, I know I've been playing bad. I know I've not been, top of my form. But look, have that. Do you know what I mean? And he felt the whole crowd screaming for him. And I think he absorbed that. And that's going to allow him to play a little bit better, because we're going to have to rely on him until at least January, So lots of good, lots of positives. I didn't expect Tanganga to start, but look, he's a young boy. I'm happy that he did. I'm happy that he did over Doherty sort of thing, you know?
Frank, I want to come to you. Want to talk a little bit more about our head coach, Antonio Conte, because as Ricky said there, every time I look down at Antonio Conte, he's always out of his technical area. I think that the fourth official in every single game that he's managed Spurs in so far just kind of gives up in telling him to come back in his technical area, running down, up and down the touchline constantly. Have you ever seen such a passionate manager for Spurs?
No, the only other manager in the world that, I mean, obviously the elite, Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, even Simeone at Atletico Madrid. They're the only other coaches, and Tuchel as well, that are as intense as Conte. And you can see him squeezing those extra percentages out of the players on the pitch due to his presence and his commands and demands and how animated he is. And Sonny's comments after the Brentford win were very apparent in the passion and how the players are feeding off it. When he said that he makes me want to play with passion, we can feel him on the pitch when he's on the touchline. And the contrast that is to what we had with Nuno, who stood there like a statue with his arms folded. He looked like he wasn't interested. There was no sort of passion. The manager reflects the team, doesn't it? That's what everyone says. And I think that's such a true saying, because under Nuno, we reflected Nuno, in my opinion. And under Conte, okay, we haven't got the best of the abilities squad-wise in the league. Obviously, we're pretty much miles off it. But the passion and enthusiasm and energy has gone up gears since we've obviously taken Conte on as our manager. And I just hope we get lucky with injuries over this run in December. That's key, because, I mean, again, today, Matt Doherty, what must he think of him? He's putting Japhet Tanganga as his right wing back. He's not a wing back in a million years, Tanganga. And he was pretty poor today, in my opinion. So we need to be very lucky with injuries. I think that's key. We need to get to January. But, I mean, the whole fan base will agree with me. We have to back this manager in January. We have to go above and beyond whatever we've done before. And if he wants 2 or 3 players, expensive ones, whether it's a centre-back, a centre-mid or a striker, back the man. Because if we back him, and I know we've been here before with previous managers, if we back Poch, we would have won something. It's all hypothetical now. But I guarantee if we back this man and give him what we want, we will win something. And I'm willing to, I guarantee that will happen. So if we can keep him happy, Daniel Levy and the board should be doing everything in their power to make him happy and make him feel like he is the man and he's totally in control of the club. And if we do that, then we're in a good place.
Darren, let's come to you. Are you surprised by what Antonio Conte has achieved in his first month in charge of Spurs?
I'm not, I really ain't, because I knew how hard he was going to work them in the training ground. And I knew how much he was going to push them. And I also looked at the fixtures that we had. And to be fair, we got light. Those fixtures that we've had so far have allowed that bedding in process. Like, if you look at the first half today, we were pretty bad. And if we was up against one of the top 4, we would have been exploited, because there was sloppy movement at the back. The ball weren't being moved as quickly as it should have been. And we were opening ourselves up for problems. So I think this period, I got what I expected, to be fair. But what I didn't expect was Sessegnon to be brought back in and see him looking like someone who could potentially be a player to stick around the first team. Seeing Doherty being given the opportunity to go, you told us on your CV you're a right wing back. You came here from Wolves with that title. Here is your chosen position. Show me something. Now he'll be shown the door officially and he can't complain. So that's what I've seen here. So that hasn't surprised me. But I think the results, and in terms of the change in the formation, because I've seen the players that he's picked, if you look at the 11s that he's picked, they're very safe 11s. The clientele that he's playing, he's not done the risk of an Ndombele. He's not done a risk of a Gill. He's not done a Bert Weinrich. He's gone, who are my solid individuals? Who on the training ground, when I scream at, runs faster? When I shout at Moura, he runs. When I shout at Son, he runs. When I shout at Skipp, he runs. When I shout at Ndombele, he walks off the training pitch. You know what I mean? He knows what he's going to get from these characters. So I think what we're getting so far is exactly what we should be getting. And hopefully, as Frank said, if we don't get hurt with injuries, we could have a pretty good December and let January come, and let's see where the money goes, because it needs to go to a lot of places in our squad right now.
Darren, I'm going to go a little bit off topic now, but I just wanted to ask your opinion on the likes of Tanguy Ndombele and Dele Alli, who, of course, didn't get any game time today, both on the substitutes bench. When the likes of them see Oliver Skipp coming in the team, playing ahead of them, How do you think that they feel about that? Because where I sit in the stadium, when I look down, Tanguy Ndombele come out to warm up, and he didn't even run along that touchline. It was just a walk. He didn't even do any stretches. It was just, it was like he didn't want to be there. And I thought, when you've got these players like Ben Davies coming into the team, didn't have much game time in the last couple of years in a Spurs shirt. He's come in now, a first team regular. Oliver Skipp playing out of his skin today, played out of his skin on Thursday night. When you've got players giving absolutely everything, Antonio Conte, shouting his heart out on the sideline, what on earth does he need to do to get someone like Tanguy Ndombele to play and wear that Spurs shirt again?
He can't do anything. And I think this is where I've had to be real with myself, because there was a lot of talk when we had Nuno to go get on Ndombele and get him in, get him playing. He's a magic man, he's a magician. We know what he can do. We all can see those flair moments. But I've always said as a Spurs fan, we're not that team anymore. We can't carry a flair player who does nothing for us. He has to be part of the mechanics of the whole team. Conte is bigger than everybody right now. He set up a framework that the whole team has to work with. Ali is not working towards it. Ndombele is not working towards it. So if you're looking at the team, if you're a professional, we're all professionals out here. If you're a professional and you see someone else doing your job better than you, it gives you an option. You either work harder or you get out. And I think that is the statement that Conte is saying to them on the training pitch. Skipp will play because he's showing me more than you are. If you show me more, I will play you. They've had their audition, they've had their moments, and in those auditions they've failed badly. So as you said, in the warm-up, they're not showing their effort. We can see that as fans. Go, you're not really showing the manager you want to be on the pitch. You're not showing the fans you want to be on the pitch. So you know what? Come January, we'll happily wave you off. I'll drive you wherever you want to go. I'm happy to be a driver. I'll drive them where they want to go. My airport runs are good. I'll get them there because they don't want to be here. And I think Conte is the one we want here. He's showing the boys, if you show me something, as Frank said, he's squeezing that extra percentage out of them. And if he's not getting it from the Alis and the Ndombeles of our squad, they will have to be make way. They'll have to be shifted on.
Yeah, sadly, I agree. Ricky, let's come to you. As Frank said earlier, in the 3rd minute, Pukki had a shot. Bit of a moment there. You thought that Norwich, might score a goal early on. Oliver Skipp had our first shot on target in the 5th minute, and then came Lucas Moura's wonder goal in the 10th minute. Talk us through that goal.
Bro, that was some magic. That was some magic Moura right there. The little 1-2, I think it was with Sonny, where he just like got it around the player and then picked it back up again, dribbled in between a couple of those Norwich defenders, and then bang, what a rocket, top corner. It was like it didn't even... It was like FIFA. It was like a FIFA goal. Do you know what I mean? Because it was like you couldn't even see it. It was just a blur, and then you just saw the net rippling. Do you know what I mean? And like, I'm so happy for Lucas. Lucas, he loves Spurs. You know that. He can't wait to say COYS, COYS, COYS. You know what I mean? Like, he loves Spurs, and I love players that love Spurs, that wear their heart on their sleeve and have that pride when they pull on the shirt. Yes, we've gone through a bit of indifference in the last couple of seasons, but to have a manager like Conte there that's got belief in Lucas, and he's not like playing super sub right now. He's playing like a regular. He's playing, he's starting 11 material right now. So he having someone like that believe in him and give him the kind of right wing striker option to go express yourself, go do what you need to do. It's such a beautiful thing to see. And to see like Lucas feed off of that was beautiful. He's needed a goal for a long time. I know he's popped up with a couple in Europe, but he's needed a home goal in the league for a long time. And I'm a lover of Lucas, man. I think he's dynamite. So to score a goal like that, hopefully again, it reinforces what Conte's putting into training, as in hard work does pay off. Not only for the goal, but for the result and the win and the clean sheet, So all of these things. And we bloody well scored from a corner. Like, I can't remember the last
second
time
game on the bounce. Second game on the bounce.
I mean, come on,
scored
what's
from a corner
happening?
at Brentford against Brentford, didn't we? And that's unheard of, back to back.
I mean, what's going on? Like, so we're seeing the building. And this is why I am positive, not just with Lucas, but with these building blocks that we're seeing. We haven't scored from corners in ages. So to get 2 on the bounce, do you know what I mean? Fantastic. To get 2 clean sheets on the bounce, fantastic. To weather the storms that Norwich put us under. I mean, come on. Some of the time, yes, they got a shot in on goal, but there was there wasn't really a panic. There was like an assured calmness. All right, cool, we messed up, let's get back into shape. Or, you know, seeing driving runs from Dyer, seeing these improved performances from players that we all thought were long dead and gone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we was all selling them in January and stuff like that. You know, Dyer, like to see him step up and kind of give kind of captain performances, you know, like leadership performances, driving runs. Like the boys have been saying, Davies there. I mean, everybody thought Davies was long and gone, you know, like, and he's looking like a bloody well diamond at left centre back. So I'll give you an example. Back in the day, and Darren will tell you this, he'll confirm this as well. But back in the day, before Poch turned up, Moussa Dembele, right? Moussa Dembele used to frustrate the hell out of me. He used to dribble all about the park, run into a player, not release the ball at the right time. I didn't know where he played, whether he was centre mid, number 10, second striker, left wing. I didn't know what he done for us. I remember there was one time, I think it was in Poch's first season, he got injured. And I remember saying to Darren, I'm happy he got injured. I'm happy he's out. I'm happy he's not in the 11 for a little while. But what really kind of impressed me about Pochettino was how he got a hold of Dembele and gave him a mission and gave him direction and gave him a role in which he could fulfill, you know, and exceeding. And we saw, like, you know, I miss Moussa Dembele right now. I wish he was in the side right now. And there is that. And that's what shows me the quality of Conte right now is getting these improved performances from players that we thought were long and gone, you know. So I think these building blocks that we're putting in right now, I'm just really positive, and I'm looking forward to what's going to happen this season. Where before with Nuno, I was almost like resigned to kind of be sitting there scratching my head and, you know, have a few more grey hairs and a couple of more wrinkles on my face and sitting there watching games like this. But right now I'm watching games like this.
It's so different though, Ricky, isn't it? So different.
Night and day, brother. Night and day. And you can see that from the response from the players as well. You can see that, like Frankie was saying there about the fans in the stadium. There's not been one man that has brought us all together like that. Do you know what I mean? So I know that this might upset a few people, all right? But luckily, I'm on this platform and you allow me to give you my opinion rather than, I don't want to pander to no kind of, you know, Twitter feeds or anything like that. But Levy made the mistake in appointing Nuno, but he rectified it real quick in bringing in somebody like Conte and giving him the assurances so that he could move forward and he could progress this football club. You know, we haven't seen it yet. We haven't hit January, so there's still, you know, like the jury is still out for right now. There ain't no verdict as yet, but like, well
hold
done
on till January 31st.
Right, innit? But
spot
like,
on.
Well done to him for bringing him in. And one of the things that I wanted Levy to do was step away from the football side, worry about the kind of stadium and the profit side, but bring a football man in, and he's done that with Paratici as well. So this is just the beginning of these building blocks, and I'm excited for what comes next.
Frank, let's come to you. I agree with Ricky. I'm a big fan of Lucas Moura as well. However, I do think Lucas Moura does need to score more goals. Antonio Conte has said exactly that today. He scored a fantastic goal today, but he has the quality to score more goals and has to score more goals. It is my expectation to see more goals like this from him. And his last Premier League goal for Spurs was back on the 28th of February. Can you believe that?
I read today, is it 23 games? League games without a goal?
It's unbelievable. Because when I think of Lucas Moura, it's probably three moments. The hat-trick at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against Huddersfield, the hat-trick obviously in the Ajax game, and the goal today. But someone of this quality, he should be scoring more, shouldn't he?
This sums Lucas Moura up. And I've been, gone on the record and said that we could upgrade that position for the third attacker with Son and Kane with better. Now, Lucas Moura does have the ability, we know this, and he's capable of moments of magic. But he's one of the most frustrating and inconsistent players in the squad. What you always get from Lucas, and this is why he's become obviously a cult hero beyond the hat-trick against Ajax, is you get 100% endeavour and effort. He loves the club. Again, after the game today, he said, I'll give everything for this club. I always will. And you cannot fault that. You need characters like that in your squad. But we do, and Conte might get this out of him now. We do need him to be more consistent. We do need him to start putting up better numbers without a shadow of a doubt. But there is a player in there. I'm just concerned about his inconsistency. He's flattered to deceive many times before. He does this. He'll have a superb game and then he'll have 4 or 5 quiet ones. So I will judge Lucas, and I'll judge a lot of these players, not after these previous 3 or 4 games. Let's give it another 10 or so games before we could pass judgment. But I don't want to sound like a broken record. I will keep repeating myself. I trust Conte. Whatever he wants to do with these players, whoever he wants to keep, whoever he wants to get rid of, I'm backing the man 100%. And going back to what you said, Chris, about Ndombele and his body language in warm-ups and when you see him around the team, poor. This is a man on £200,000 a week. He doesn't look motivated. In the Brentford game, I was actually at the stadium pretty early the other night. And the other one who was like that was Dele Alli, and his hands in his pockets when they were doing the rondos. And I was looking at him thinking, do you know, this is the sort of manager that's going to look at you with your hands in your pockets and think, no, that's not for me. So it's good to have characters like Lucas because he's the polar opposite to that. But we need more from him. And I'm not going to get, I mean, it was a brilliant goal, by the way. That little turn where he knocks it round the man before the, but he's obviously capable of that. We've seen it from him before, but it's nowhere near enough, Chris. So I actually love Lucas as like a character. So I hope he's one of the players, but no one would be happier for him if he went on a run now and ended the season with double figures in goals. I'd be over the moon for him. I really would.
Darren, let's come to you on the same subject of Lucas Moura. Antonio Conte said, it is my expectation to see more goals like this from him. You know, his expectation, we know is going to be, high expectations from every single player. Do you think that Lucas Moura will now score more goals, be more involved in games under Conte?
You know what? I think he will. And what I've noticed with what Conte's done is, I know a lot of people are speaking about Harry Kane not playing well, Harry Kane not scoring, etc., etc. What I'm seeing is Moura and Son, from what I believe, being told the license of go for goal. Don't always look for Harry, go for goal. If you've got the opportunity, take the shot. If you've got it, go for the run. Moura has got a bag of ability. Like, we know this. We can see he's got the Brazilian flair about him. He has magic in his boots. But as Frank said, he's a workhorse. And sometimes most of his energy is spent breaking down an attacking run from their side, working hard to win back the ball. And you go, Lucas, put that energy around the box. Use that pace that you've got to get in. You can do this. And if Harry drops off and finds that pass that we're all talking about, playing in him and Son, that's going to be a nightmare for a lot of teams out there. That is a lot of pace up front. You've got it coming from both angles. You're going, Frank.
Sorry, I was just going to say with Lucas, do you know, through the middle, he's better. If you look at the last 18 months, all his best games for Spurs have come when he just plays off Kane and Son. He seems to do more damage there. And someone in the comments mentioned it. When he's not stuck out wide and when he beats the first 2 men, he's still got a lot of the pitch in front of him. When he's central and he's playing on the edge of the box and he does things like that today, he's a danger. So perhaps there's something that they've been working on.
The thing about it is, Frank, I don't want him to be too congested there, because I think what that was doing, and I saw it again today, is there's too many bodies in that same area. And I think what Lucas could really capitalise on with Reguilon and Emerson Royal, for what I believe are chosen 2 wing backs, if he plays just inside those guys, that makes the centre half have an absolute nightmare, because his pace, he will always be able to cut in. And there's your goal. For me, there's your goal. Like you saw today, his trickery, his turn, how light he's on his feet. You can't touch him or it's a free kick. So he's going to get his shot away. And I believe that now is the time for him to show that, because Conte's putting that extra squeeze on him, but he's also giving them confidence. Scoring a wonder goal like that today makes, if I'm that player, I want the ball next week. Give me the ball. I want that ball. Give it to me. I want the shot. So if you're now a centre midfielder, Skipp, looking up, you're not just looking for Harry anymore. You suddenly got Lucas going, give it to me. You got Son going, give it to me. And that's also something that we've not had. Our front three calling for it, wanting it. Son does great runs at times and they don't see him because their heads are down. Now everyone's up. Everyone's looking at that bigger picture. And that's what Conte's instilling. And I think we are going to get a little bit more Lucas and a little bit more Sauce. And I'm going to be a happy man for it. So let's have it. Let's have it.
They actually look coached, don't they, Darren, for once this season? Yeah. We've got a squad that looks well coached, or is starting to look well coached, which is massive.
Yeah, I think that is a big difference as well. And in the 29th minute, Heung-min Son had a chance. Harry Kane had a chance. 35th minute, Ben Davies had a shot. And I'd just like to say as well that Ben Davies has had more shots in 4 Premier League games under Conte than the whole of last season. 3 in 20 games last season. Unbelievable. In the 39th minute, Harry Kane missed a shot or a chance, right-footed outside the box, went wide. Ricky, what have you made of Harry Kane so far this season? Because, of course, everybody is now talking about it. One Premier League goal, and we're in the first week of December.
I mean, it's something that we haven't seen before for a long time, especially from Harry. But you know what? We're seeing we're seeing him run and do for the team. We're seeing an energy. The first half of the season under Nuno, we didn't really see. We saw glimpses of what Harry does off the ball or outside of the kind of the box. Do you know what I mean? But right now, under Conte, I think he's inspired, and we're seeing inspired performances. I mean, the pass that he done against Brentford over the shoulder, that when it just went over the right, I was just like, where did he see that? And straight into the path of his run as well, Royals run. I thought fantastic. So we are seeing Harry kind of get up to speed. You know, no excuses, but the reasons, you know, he didn't come into pre-season until, what was it, a week before the season or something like that. He was off for whatever reason. And then obviously he had the heartbreak of not getting the move that he wanted, because I think he felt that the ship was sinking at Spurs and he wanted to go to another place. So he had a bit of a heartbreak. Then he's got to get over that, you know, because he's our number 9, even though he plays number 10. But, you know, he's our number 9. He's our talisman. And I think his heart was indifferent until Conte's come in and really kind of, you know, giving him back his inspiration, put a fire underneath his backside. And I think he as the games go on that he doesn't score, I think he's going to get more frustrated and kind of and go for it a bit more. You know, it's not like he didn't have shots today. Us as a team, we had shots not just on goal but on target, and he had a couple as well. I mean, even the other day when Skippy put him through against Brentford, that through ball from Skippy, which was, you know, it was dynamite. It was class. You know, that's a Harry Kane goal all day. You know, in seasons gone by, that's
the point, though, Ricky. That's the point. You know, people who sit near me, whenever Harry Kane seems to miss an opportunity, you just hear, "Oh, his heart's not in it anymore. Oh, he would have scored that last year. Oh, he's so off it." You know, people don't seem to be that impressed. But, you know, performance-wise, as you said, at Brentford, you know, the Brentford game on Thursday, he just played that ball to Reguilon then crossing for Son, 2-0, job done, game won. Are you happy with his performances?
I'm happy to see an improved performance from him. It's not a vintage Harry Kane performance right now, but the building blocks are there. You know, you can see that he wants to be there. You can see that he wants to win. You know, he was unlucky a bit today. The shot, what was it? The left-footed shot outside the box that Tim Krul just got to. You know, that would have been a goal all day. So we've got to be a little bit patient with him. We've got to have a little bit of human understanding with him. You know, these are not just players on FIFA. They're not robots. Even when we criticize, right? We criticize with love because we know what Harry can bring to the game. We know what a top firing Harry is like. So when we criticize him, we're criticizing him not because we just want to be negative and get some views up, but because we know what he should be doing or where he should be in the goal charts and in the scoring charts and stuff like that. I think it's just a matter of time. I think it's just a matter of time. Soon as he gets one, he'll start getting 2s and 3s, and he'll start banging hat tricks real soon. I just think he's inspired with what Conte's brought to the table. I think he's inspired with the performances from the rest of his teammates. Remember, there's a lot of time that he doesn't get service. So when he's got confidence in his defense, in his midfield, and in the wing backs trying to get the ball to him, it's coming. And then I think he'll be inspired again after January, because I've got a feeling, even if it is on the 31st, I've got a feeling at least 1, 2, and I'm hoping for maybe 3, but 2 definitely. You know, when he sees the caliber of player that's coming in to kind of level up this team, I think he'll be inspired again to go again. And it's dangerous for the league to have a frustrated Harry Kane. You know, it's going to be great for us. But the second half of the season, the business end of the season, if he's on fire, we're going to do something. I'd say the good thing, Rick, about Kane,
compared to other strikers, particularly Aubameyang recently, and even Lukaku. I watched obviously the second half. When he's not always on the peripheral of the game, he's always involved. The other strikers aren't. Yeah. And no other striker for me in world football, I don't care. Lewandowski can't drop off and play that little spin, half volley, clip out ball to the byline to the right hand side. No one, they haven't got the clubs that he's got in his golf bag with his range of passing. So when he's not scoring, at least he is dropping off and linking the play. However, on the flip side to that, my biggest concern with Kane, and I've been saying this recently, is I think there's an element of him being run into the ground over the last 5 to 6 years. He's not had any. He's not been able to rotate because we've had inadequate backups. You know, we haven't got second striker at the moment. We've got one, and it's him. He's had to play every game when he's fit, literally over the last 5 or 6 years. We haven't had another striker you could trust anywhere near as much as him with the Janssens, Llorentes. They are not on his level. And my biggest concern with looking at him, he looks a little bit leggy still, in my opinion. And I just think, this is a question to you guys. Do you think there is an element of that he's played a hell of a lot of football and he's starting to look a little bit leggy, or do you think I'm wrong?
I think we've always had that though, Frank, and I think we always will as long as we only have one striker. And it just seems that all of us fans say year after year after year we need another striker. Of course, we've got Carlos Vinicius in. You know, we didn't use him very much in the Premier League. Whether he was good enough or not is another question. But it must happen January transfer window or in the summer, because even during December. Before the January transfer window, we have got games coming thick and fast in all competitions as well. Is Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, are they all going to be playing in every single game?
I don't think they can physically because it's so demanding. Exactly. The rigours of the Premier League are unrivaled. And unfortunately, as I said, those two players are so key for us. We haven't got anyone else on their level to come in and actually sort of rotate or replace them. And this is my concern over this Christmas period, because if one of them picks up a muscle injury or something like that, then we'll be a lesser team for it. And it will be, either one would be a huge miss to this squad.
Yeah. Darren, do you want to come in on that point as well?
Yeah, I was just going to say on the Kane matter, because I think, yes, Kane does look a little bit leggy and he does look a little bit tired. But I think also what we're seeing now, I'm judging Kane as the season started when Conte arrived. That's what I'm doing. Because if you look at the setup that we had with Nuno, he didn't play to his strengths either. And as Vic said about service, there was no service. We were not a creative side at all. And it was breakaway chance, magic goals we were hoping to win 1-0 by. Now there is a system. Now there is a structure. Now you can see the clogs working between our front three. Now you see Skipp and Højbjerg and Dyer and players looking up, looking early. And that's, for me, it's the early pass. Sometimes we do 30, 40 passes before anyone look forward. And we go, why are we doing that? Because nothing's happening. We're not building any pressure. We're actually putting pressure on ourselves. Now, suddenly, you see the wing-backs have gone. There's an option. There's options for passes. Heads are up. So this is where I think Kane falls into his element. And he didn't have the best preseason. He didn't have the best attitude, maybe, to start the season with. And also, he was in a team that he made, as we fan looked at him, and what are we doing? What is this setup? What are we playing? And now he's got the manager bringing the fire, squeezing that extra bit out of him. And now he's got his buddies looking like his buddies again. Now he's got Son looking like Son again. Now he's got Moura looking like Moura again. I feel there's a change. And I pray we don't get the injury, which we know there's normally one a season. And I don't know when it's due. Let's hope it's not now. And it doesn't come in this little patch where we need him. And we're going to need everybody to stay fit for December. But we do need the extra striker. We all know that. But I think it's down to the business side of it. We've always brought the striker to play when Kane's not there. This striker, for me, that doesn't make sense. This striker needs to be competing with him. And that's what Kane needs. Because as we said about professionals, you need competition. If you know no one else is better than you, what makes you want to improve? If you look at the guy who's playing when you're not playing, go, right, he just got a hat trick. You suddenly go, big man, I need a training session. We need to get busy. But if you know that he's only going to get that one game because it's just for you to get a break, what are you putting the extra effort in for? And that's where legginess comes in. That's where the clogs don't go as fast as they need to. So let's get a big boy in and let's make it happen.
What did you think, though, Darren, of Harry Kane's chances today? Because on another day, he could have easily had a hat trick.
He could, but for me, it's because the system was better suited to him today, and he was putting himself in those positions. You know, Krul's a great goalkeeper. Like he had a worldie against Tottenham. If Costa was there now, he'd be saying the same thing. He has a worldie. I know. That's what happens. And Kane weren't getting one today, and I felt that for Kane. I was like, you're not getting one. But let's be looking at the bigger picture. We've got a front three, so to speak, today, and the other two stepped up. And that's what we've got to be looking at as well. We're not reliant on Kane. We're not going to become Kane FC. And people want to throw that out there today. The goals were spread around. Sanchez looked the most angriest man on earth when he put a ball in the back of the net. And I like that. I like that he wasn't celebrating like, look at me, I'm a great guy. I know my job's not about this. I need to work on my game. Moura and Son scored today. Kane's going, I was part of the setup of that goal. I feel, look, I'm positive. I don't want to get too positive because I know what you and Ricky with me, Chris. And I know what you and Ricky do. So I don't want to get too excited because I don't want to fuel you guys. Frank, let's hold on.
Ricky, let's come to you. I know it does feel different, doesn't it? Because, you know, certainly those last few games under Nuno, even the first few games under Conte, we weren't even having shots on target. And now, you know, you see like today's game, Ben Davies is having shots on target. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Oliver Skipp, Lucas Moura with that fantastic goal. Everyone seems to be shooting. Everyone seems to have that little bit more confidence now.
Yeah. And that's because they can. They can have. They're gaining confidence in their teammates. Where before maybe they'd look behind and go, "Oh, I don't know whether Dyer's going to be the best in defence, or I don't know whether, you know, Højbjerg's got to do so much. Is there going to be a gap?" There ain't that right now. They're like everybody's been saying there. Like, we've got a structure right now. There's a plan. You know, Conte's demanding from everyone. He's demanding the best they can give at that moment from everyone. Nobody's thinking about the next game. It's about the game right now. And I want everything that you've got right here, right now. And so you can build that confidence. And I think even like the Burnley game that we missed, I think it was almost a blessing in disguise because they got to have a little extra time on that training pitch. They got to have a, you know, they got to...
Not for the people who travelled up there.
I mean, sorry, Chris. Sorry, Chris. I mean, but it was a nice drive. You got to see the snow, right? But I mean, for the boys to get those extra training sessions in, to get this system drilled into every single player that's in the starting 11, I think all of these things start to build confidence. And having Conte as a manager, having that passion, do you know what I mean? Like I think a lot of our players, our passion was drained out of us. You know, that energy was drained out of us. I think as soon as Poch left, we saw in the next 2 seasons after he left, like limp performances. We saw a lot of the way that we would describe it as fans is a lot of them didn't care anymore. And what Conte's done is you know, fire them up again. Go, listen, this is your career. You know what I mean? This is football. This is one of the greatest games that you can play. You're in one of the hardest, best leagues in the world. Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to achieve or do you want to sulk? And some people will sulk and some people will get angry and go, you know what? I need to get into this team. And that's the difference, I think. Like, you know, someone like, and I'm putting this out there because I don't know, but, you know, Ndombele and Dele, they might be sulking that they're not in the side. Oh, you should really pick me. I can't believe you ain't picking me. Rather than fighting. Do you know what I mean? Whereas someone like Lucas and Skippy, they're fighting. You know, like Skippy's a young boy. He's just come into the first team this season. Even though he looks like he's been there for years, he's just come in this season. He wants to cement his place. He's a Tottenham boy. He wants to achieve. He wants to go to the last furlong. Do you know what I mean? He wants to jump every hurdle. And we need that from our other players. And if they're not on it, then regardless of their price tag, Conte's going to be like, yo, just sit on the bench right there. There's your seat. Here's a blanket. Do what you got to do. Do you know what I mean?
So, just quickly, Reece, so true what you said there. Whenever Lucas has been dropped from the squad or the team, rather, he's never sulked. And he always gives 100%. And the other players in the squad, the Dele Allis and the Ndombeles, need to look at him as an example because he's been in and out of the team over the last few years. He's always got a smile on his face. His attitude is to go back and work harder and try and break back into the team. So I agree with everything you said there, Rick. Yeah,
even Davies there is as an example. Do you know what I mean? Like, Davies doesn't sulk. We saw in the Spurs documentary that I remember them talking about transfers and him saying, you know, well, why haven't we got time for a player to develop and to grow and to evolve? Well, I've never seen him moan, but right now under this manager, that's exactly what he's doing. He's growing, he's evolving, he's getting more confidence in himself, you know. So, and we've got more confidence with him. So when we see the starting lineup nowadays, we ain't putting our head in our hands, going, oh no, look, Davies is starting or Winks is starting. Like, you know, Frankie said there, and like I said when we signed Conte, I don't care who he plays, right? Everyone's got a clean sheet for me right now. I don't care who he plays. If he believes that that player should start the game, then I believe that that player should start the game. Do you know what I mean? And I'm going to back him.
I just want to go back to my point earlier, Rick. When I see, a couple of times now, Thursday night and tonight, Tanguy Ndombele not really wanting to train or run along the sidelines as a sub. A comment here from Joey on the screen as well. After the last 18 months of Ndombele and his pathetic attitude is everything I've hated as a fan. It's because of people like him I've lost interest. What do you think is going to happen with Tanguy Ndombele? Because he's had so many issues with so many managers, and they all can't be wrong. Well,
No,
but we know he has got some fantastic ability. But when we haven't ever seen it consistently.
He'll never be a top player with that attitude. I'm sorry, he won't. You can have all the ability in the world, and as the old saying goes, hard work beats talent if talent doesn't work hard. And he doesn't have that desire and want to be a top Premier League player. He doesn't. So as much as Rick, we've been on the pods before, we've done shows, we've spoken about our desire to get him up to scratch, because if we got him in the team, and if he had Højbjerg's attitude, he probably wouldn't be at Spurs. Let's be honest, he'd be at Real Madrid or Manchester City or something, a bigger club than us, say. But it is so frustrating with his situation at the moment, because the problem is, Chris, he's on £200,000 a week. He's still got a few years left on his deal. He's obviously living in London. He's got probably a nice life. He's at these beautiful training facilities every day. Why is he going to want to go to another club and downgrade his wages and potentially his lifestyle? And we've got a few players in this situation where it's going to be tough to get rid of them. So the conundrum with Ndombele is I'm sick of it. It's been 3 years now. How many of these conversations have we had when I've done the show, Chris? How many more of these conversations can we keep having about Ndombele? And, if Conte doesn't fancy him, we've just got to try and recoup what we can and get rid and get someone else in who wants to play for Spurs.
Yeah,
well, one of the reasons...
Sorry,
go on, Rick.
No, I was just going to say, one of the troubling aspects of Ndombele, really, and, I'm a massive fan of his. It was the one signing that I wanted that summer, right? If we only got one, he was the one that I wanted. But as soon as he turned up and he started a couple of training sessions under Poch, he was like, "Oh, this is a bit much for me." Do you know what I mean? And then we had a manager change, and it was Mourinho, and it was like, "Oh, this is a bit much for me." Actually, Daniel, can I leave? Can I leave, Daniel? As we saw in the documentary. And Daniel's gone, you know what? He gave him that whole speech about fighting and about having that fight in you, and your time will come. And it just seems like every single season there's this thing about he's wanting to leave. Even this summer that's just gone, we knew about Kane, but I think it was only 2 weeks before the transfer window shut that it came out that Ndombele wanted to leave again. So if you don't want to be there, regardless of your talent, if you don't want to be there at Spurs, it's cool. Do what you got to do. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know if he's going to sit on his wages. I think he's going to ask for a transfer request probably again. So, but it's about how much money can we get for him, how much we can recoup for him, or can Paratici do another kind of Lamella wonder deal where he puts him as a make-weight at Fiorentina and we get Vlahovic for $5 million. Do you know what I mean? So, one of those super deals. Do you know what I mean? So, if you don't want to be there, it's cool. But he does, and we all know that he has a bunch of ability in those feet, and he could be a world-class league destroyer in the midfield. And I really would have thought that Yaya Toure being at the club this week, that Yaya, someone that he probably looks up to, playing in his position, him winning all of the trophies that he's won, I thought him being around the club, maybe, Tanguy would have been able to get a little conversation, or maybe Yaya was like, yo, bro, you're wasting your time. Do you know what I mean? Go out there, be the man that you can be. But we ain't seeing it right now. And he ain't getting the starts, which means Conte doesn't trust him right now. So we'll have to see, Chris. We'll have to see.
It's frustrating. It really is. Darren, let's come to you. Who do you think are the real winners, and who will be the real winners under Antonio Conte? Because if I had to answer this question, I think that Ben Davies is already a winner and under Antonio Conte with the game time that he's getting. Eric Dyer, he sees him as a leader. I think he's going to get, improve. He's going to be improved under Antonio Conte. I also think Harry Winks will be improved under Conte as well. And thank God, and Anthony Costa isn't on this stream and talking about Harry Winks. So, Darren, what players do you think will be really improved under Conte?
I think for me, one that was just missed off your list. Oh, hello there. Funny enough. One that was missed off your list for me is Reguilon. Reguilon is 100% going to be one of the improved players because he never played as a left wing back before. This is a new position for him. And I think he's absolutely going to thrive on it. His confidence has gone up already. You can see he's talking about how he's dying on the pitch and he's dying in training. And he's a guy who wants to improve. And I think he's a typical Conte attitude because seeing someone like that, he's willing to put himself on the line, work himself to the bone. He's definitely going to come out on top of this. I also think Son, as much as people talk about how great he is, I don't think Son gets the plaudits he deserves on the world level. I think undoubtedly he's one of the best in our league, and I believe he's one of the best in the world. And I think that people don't talk about him because he's the happy, smiley guy, and we just go, "Oh, Son's a good guy," but he's a phenomenal footballer. And I think Conte will bring an edge to his game that we haven't seen. And I think there's a little beast that's going to come out of Son, and suddenly he's going to get numbers, and people are going to go, "Oh, hello, who's this guy?" And we're going to go, "Yeah, this is a guy we always knew. We knew that could happen." So for me, I'm looking at Ben Davies. I think being a left-footed centre half, which Conte needs, he's gonna grow immensely. And I think Emerson Royale, another one who is also gonna push forward. And my last one will be Sessegnon, because I think, you know what, I think giving him this new lease of life, I think he's never been around Spurs as much as he needed to be, and now he's got a manager that is a proven winner, and he wants it. And I think Conte will like that about him. He wants it, and him fighting Reguilon for that spot, we're dangerous on the left for me. We're dangerous there. That's my takes.
Ricky, same question to you.
Like Darren was saying now, I mean, look at Davies. I mean, wow. You know, 2 assists. Or what is it? 2 assists today. He's been relied upon. He's been given responsibility. He's stepped up to the challenge. He stepped up to the responsibility. We've seen him kind of grow. Does
it surprise you about Ben Davies, Rick?
Yeah, a little bit. In the sense of it, but in the sense of he was, in a lot of fans' eyes, he was long and gone, mate. You know, like a lot of fans' eyes, we didn't want to see him at left back anymore. But having this new role, I think it plays to all of his strengths. He's got enough pace for a left centre back to drive forward. He's got he does have a left foot, and it's not a bad left foot, you know. So, and he does have a bit of vision, and I think he can use this situation in a back three to exploit all of his strengths right now. Skippy, I think Skippy having Conte as a manager is going to improve him tenfold. I mean, he is one that every manager has kind of agreed with. Poch spoke about Skippy. Mourinho spoke about Skipp. Yeah. You know, and Conte's come in and he's like, okay, all right. But what I like about what Conte's doing is he's not kind of getting overexcited with what he's given right now. He's like, he can still do more. And I love that. Yes, this is good right now, but he can still do more. And we're going to work on him to do more. That whole club is going to be improved. That whole first 11, 12, 13, that all of them are going to be improved under Conte. So it's really, I think it's an exciting time. Yes, of course, we still need some surgery. Of course, we still need some players to come in to improve this squad even more. But it's a good place to be right now. And I think it being a good place to be, having Conte, having Paratici, having improved performance from the side is going to inspire players to want to come to Spurs. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're going to want to come to Spurs to play under this manager, to play in this system, to play in this way. So I think, like, the future's bright right now, and it hasn't been bright for a long time. It really hasn't. So, you know, we're going in the right direction, Chris. We really are. And I can see a lot of them, like even Lucas being one of the winners of working under Conte. I mean, look at him straight away, you know? So it's just the beginning.
Do you know what, Rick? You've named half the squad.
I know.
Well, I agree. They're all winners. They're all, because they get to work with Antonio Conte. It's true. They get to work with one of the best managers who's in his prime at the moment in managerial terms. So they're all lucky. They should all be very thankful that they've got a coach like that they get to work with every day.
Do you know what, Frank? Let's come back to you, because Oliver Skipp, I think, should be on that list. And what really impressed me, not only was he fantastic on Thursday night against Brentford, but he was fantastic today. And, so much has been said about the lack of creativity in midfield. Oliver Skipp today, he's surging runs, surging forward. We haven't really seen that from him before, have we?
No, that's being coached into him, because we didn't see that under Nuno. He's been told to take more risks. And he's not a slouch, is he? He's quite nippy and athletic, and I think it was just after they were on top, wasn't they, for the first sort of 5 minutes today, and then he made that marauding run where he beat a few players, and I think he won a set piece in and around the edge of the box, and that sort of turned the tide a little bit. There was a swing of momentum. We were a bit sort of less sloppy on the ball after that period, so that's been notable, and that's being coached into him to pass forward more if you see a gap, to drive into the space, and he's becoming a more rounded, all-around player. And again, for a young man like him, I mean, he's had some great experiences working under Pochettino, somebody like Jose Mourinho, whatever you say about him, he's one of the greats, and now Antonio Conte. So for a young man, he's had some excellent coaches, and all of them have said how great he is, and future Spurs captain, and they all can't be wrong, can they? So the future is bright for Skippy. He's got a great attitude. He can be whatever he wants to be. We've just got to let him develop and grow. And who better to develop and grow under than, as I said, Antonio Conte?
Frank, comment on screen now. Do you think Oliver Skipp should get an England call-up? Surely with these types of performances, week in, week out, he will be, no doubt.
Well, he's got to start doing this over the course of, say, the next 10 games rather than a spell of 5 or 6. There's a lot of quality for England's options. You've got Calvin Phillips, who I love. I think he's a beautiful footballer. Declan Rice, who's an incredible player. Jude Bellingham, who's a freak of nature for what he's doing at his age. You've got Jordan Henderson, who's Mr. Liverpool, the captain there. So to be able to break into that, there's only 2 that's going to get picked. It will be tough for him. But I think Southgate, he does like to look at young players, particularly those who have been in the under-21 setup for quite a long time, which Skipp has now. So possibly if there's a couple of injuries in that position next year, we might see him make his England debut. But again, I'm not fussed. Let's not rush Skipp. Let's let him grow and develop under Conte. Give him time. For me, he's shown, I think he has got potential to be one of the best in that position in the Premier League. But again, we'll see. We'll see what happens to his career over the next few years.
Frank, just jumping on the back of that, it's really interesting because I think what Conte's done, like we talk about systems and changes, I think he hasn't reinvented the wheel yet at Spurs. And I think there's a lot of potential for the growth that we're all looking at. But I think what he's done smartly in his early days at Tottenham is he's looked at Ben Davies and gone, where do you play? You played left-sided centre-back for Wales, so you know this role. I can put you in there and feel safe with you in there. I've got Eric Dyer, I know I feel safe with you there. He looked at Reguilon. I remember Frank one game, I can't remember the game now, where Reguilon was winding you and Costa up something rotten. And it was his defensive choices. He was putting himself in position. And I think everyone was going, what is he doing? What is he doing? And what Conte has done and gone, your flair is your attacking presence, the pace, the energy that you bring. When you're that kind of left wing back, suddenly you're pushing your right back, your attacking play backwards. So they're not affecting your side of the pitch. So you're cutting down the amount of defensive work you have to do. And I think what he's done is he's looked at the characteristics of the players he's got and go, my system is this. Who best fits my system? You guys do. This is great. This can work for now. And we can all see that it's not the finished article. Like you can see at the back, we haven't got a natural ball-playing centre-half at the back there. I know Eric Dyer would say he is, but for me, certain times his head's up too high and the ball's too far away, and I'm like, Eric, you're scaring the living daylights out of me. And I think that he's looking to just get what you can out of these guys now. He knows the system. We can all see it. Thank the good Lord we can see the system. And I feel that as we go forward, we're really going to kick on.
When he's playing to the strengths of the players.
Absolutely.
And that balance. And again, I've been critical of Ben Davies, so I'm not going to just completely flip-flop. He hasn't performed consistently for a number of years now, but the underlapping left-sided centre-back suits him with Reguilon.
Yeah.
And obviously, where he was a full-back, he can put the odd ball into the box of quality, and he's happy to do that because under Poch, he bombed on a lot, didn't he, at left-back when he played?
Yeah.
So it's just, again, it's nice that we've got a proper manager now who's looked at it, no square pegs in round holes. He's putting players playing to their strengths. And again, it's all down to one man at the moment, and that's Conte.
Well, we've all mentioned Anthony so much. He's just messaged me saying he's loving the show and he wants to come on. So,
I knew it,
Anthony,
you know. I was just about to say, Chris, we've mentioned his name so many times that I think he's going to pop up in a minute.
His ears were burning, weren't they?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, Anthony, you've got the link, so just click on the link and we'll let you in. It'll be a pleasure having you on. Darren, let's come to you.
Chris, I've got to tell you one thing. There was a tweet that went out today. I think it was on the bottom of your tweet about the show today, and it was from Kev Green, right? And Kev Green, massive Spurs supporter, gave me the nickname Champagne, right? But the nickname he gave Anthony was Rantony Costa, and I was the new one. Cracking up.
That's been floating around.
I was cracking Rantony Costa, you know. I was cracking up. Hurry up, Anne. Come on, let's make it happen.
It's funny how we all seem to get nicknames on these shows. It's crazy. Darren, let's come to you. In the 67th minute, Davinson Sanchez put Tottenham Hotspur 2-0 up. What have you made of Davinson Sanchez under Antonio Conte so far? Because, of course, you know, dare I mention it, that Moura away game in the Europa Conference League, you know, getting turned for both of those goals, heavily criticised by all of the Tottenham Hotspur fans. But, you know, he's come good in these last two Premier League games. Is it something to get carried away over, or is it just it's Brentford and Norwich?
You know what? I love a centre half, as Ricky will tell you, and you'll come to learn, Chris. I always look at the back four. I'm a defensive man. I feel someone coming. I feel a presence.
Here he is. Here he is.
Here comes trouble.
Anthony in the house.
Hello, Ant.
Boys, I love it. Even when I'm not there, you still miss me, didn't you?
We've all spoke about you.
What's the subject tonight? Harry Winks.
Harry Winks. He's going to be a winner under Conte.
Oh, shut up, Chris. Have a day off, will ya?
We were just talking about Davinson Sanchez, and Chris was saying he, you know, much improved last couple of performances. And what do you think?
And what did you make of today's game?
Do you know what though, lads? Yeah, he has done all right. But I'll tell you, who's the most improved is Ben Davies.
Yeah, we've all
unbelievable. I'm really happy with, because that's where he plays for Wales, so he knows that position, and that's where Conte's gone to him. You play there for Wales, come and play here for Tottenham. He's been there so long, but this is his best games I've seen him play in 6-7 years.
Yeah, agreed. But the thing is, with Sanchez, we were talking about him. Sanchez, for me, he panics. In the Tottenham back three, back two, wherever he panics. And you watch him, as he gets there, he's already on ice. He's like, I've got to make a tackle. Breathe, relax. And for me, I want my centre-halves to have that moment of assurity, because if you're a goalkeeper, your centre-half, there's got to be a conversation. And I feel with Davinson, I don't feel he's confident enough either with who he's playing with or himself to trust what he's about to do. And if you look at Romero when he's there, you go, oh my gosh, that's the mentality of a centre-half. He looks so composed. That sometimes will get him in trouble, but I prefer that than the opposite. And I think what we're seeing in Davinson Sanchez is someone who is assuring himself. And when I see him on international duty, because I've watched a lot of the games out there, to go, are we missing something? Like, obviously, we've got an Argentinian who goes away and becomes somebody else. And I was like, have we got the same with our centre-half? But he looks the same. He's the last-ditch tackle, man. And you can't always get yourself out. And I think these last two games, Conte, I think, has told him, stay on your feet. Stay on your feet. And
he still hasn't, no, Darren, has he? He fell over against Brentford.
But that's what I'm about to say, is that he will always make those mistakes. But I think now he's thinking about it more. You're seeing him concentrate harder, and the mistakes are not as much. But for me, I don't want him there. Like, I gave him his chance. For me, we need a new centre-half set-up. We need to change that all out. We definitely need to buy one in January. I won't wait till the end of the season. January, I'll be going to snapping up a centre-half.
He's one of the first out the door for me, Sanchez.
Absolutely,
he's
totally
got to go.
agree. But
I don't trust him still.
But we've got someone who I think could do it. And I think Rodon's the man. I do believe in Rodon. I do believe in him. I think
I do. I just don't think he's going to get game time, Dal.
But that's what I'm hoping, because he's a no-nonsense centre-half, and he's the guy who will put his face in front of everything. And I don't know what he's showing on the training ground. if he can show Conte that he wants it, because as I say, we all said it here, we all believe in Conte, we trust. If Conte's getting something from him to put him in, go for it. We've seen how many games in now, and he's not really getting the nod. Tanganga's getting nods. Davinson Sanchez getting nods. Rodin isn't really getting the nod. There must be something that we're not seeing in training that he's not pushing it in, because I believe there's a lot of potential there. There's a lot of potential.
But he said he's the understudy for Dyer, didn't he? He said that basically I've got to have 2 players for each position, and Rodin, I see him more as an Eric Dyer type. So I think that's why. Well, that's what he said anyway.
Yeah, poor sod.
But also, I think it's good management from Conte's point of view. After having that nightmare performance against Moura, to put him back in. Do you know what I mean? Not just destroy the player. Now, against Moura, like, we know that he's a bit like Bambi on ice when he plays on the right, but he's 100% on ice when he plays on the left. He hasn't got a left foot, you know. So him playing on the right, I think you're going to get to see better performances. And I think if he has confidence in the 2 that's behind him to mop up if he does slip over, or if he does make a rash run forward or something like that, then you might get improved performances from Sanchez. But I just think from Conte's point of view, I thought it was really good management from him to kind of go, you know what, make up for it. Show me you're better. And he put him in against Burnley. The Burnley game didn't happen, but then Brentford, and then today against Norwich. So that's why I think that his celebration today, it wasn't Cantona-esque. I think it was a lot of frustration, a lot of anger. And I think after that, he allowed that to release. He allowed that performance against Moura for himself to let it go and to embrace the Tottenham crowd cheering him instead of jeering him. Do you know what I mean? So, yes, I agree with you about all of you about like him being one of the first out, but we can't write anybody off underneath Conte. If Conte believes in him, or if Conte thinks that he can give us what we need, then all right, cool. I'm with you.
He doesn't start though. If Romero's fit and Sanchez doesn't get in that starting.
No. Romero's the man.
Frank, let's come to you. In the 77th minute, Tottenham scored their 3rd goal through Heung-min Son. Of course, got a goal on Thursday, got a goal today. Our top goal scorer in the Premier League always seems to deliver for us when the likes of Harry Kane don't score.
Well, his home form's always been exceptional, particularly at the new stadium. He's made it his ground. We all thought it was going to be Harry Kane that would be the king of the new stadium, but the numbers don't lie. It's Son. And I'm glad to see him back putting numbers up and in better form, because he did have a little bit of a drop-off in performances. I could be a bit critical of Sonny for his consistency, and Darren alluded to earlier saying, I think he's world-class, one of the best players in the world. I actually think he needs to be more consistent, in my opinion, particularly in some of the away games. He goes missing. He does in the odd game, not all the time, but I think he needs to just up his consistency a little bit, and he definitely could be one of the best players in the world. He's phenomenal. I love his character. I love his attitude. He loves Spurs. He does. And yeah, I'm happy for Sonny. And let's hope that he carries his run on now, because again, we've got Brighton and Leicester coming up, followed by Liverpool. 2 really tough away games, followed by arguably the toughest home game of the season because of the form they're in right now. So this is needed. We needed Son to hit this form before this Christmas period, and hopefully it continues.
I think Liverpool, obviously, as we know, will be the biggest test probably this side of the season. And I think you boys spoke about it before, about where he will be going. Do you know what I'm saying? Where the project's going. Do you know what I mean, boys? And I think if we can nick a result against Liverpool at home, wow, amazing. Like, that'll be the best result of the season. But I wouldn't be too upset if we did lose, because we are Spurs. We're going to win games. We're going to lose games. We're going to draw games. That's just the nature of the beast of supporting this club.
We don't expect to beat Liverpool, do we? That's your point there.
But what I'm trying to say is, if we do show up and not fear Liverpool, I think that is the biggest compliment for Conte since he arrived at Spurs. Do you see what I'm saying? If we don't do the usual Spurs going 1-0 up and bottling it and losing 2-1 or 3-1, if we go, if we end up nicking a draw, amazing. But I just want to see fight. And Frank and I were on the show the other day with Ricky Sachs on Last Word, and we said all we want to see from our players is effort. That's all we want. If we're going to win games, we're going to lose games, we're going to draw games. but I just want to see effort. Do you know
It's
what I
how
mean?
you lose. It's how you lose and how you win, and definitely.
Absolutely.
Well,
if we can nick 6 points against Leicester and Brighton, or Brighton and Leicester next couple of weeks, then I think we're in a good place, lads.
Surely you're very happy with the start from Antonio Conte there, Anthony, yeah?
Oh, of course I am. You know I am, Chris. I speak to you on a regular, like the boys on the show now. I'm very happy. I'm a massive Antonio Conte fan. But as I think Darren said before, Spurs' season starts now.
Yeah.
4 weeks ago. Forget the Nuno era. That to me was just whatever, a caretaker. But this guy now is the main man. He is though, lads, isn't he? Let's have it right. The football wasn't great. You know, we were winning 1-0. We were top of the league before that first international break. And I said, okay, well, let's see what happens after that. And it was terrible football. Terrible. I've never walked out of the stadium until that Watford game when we beat them 1-0. I walked out 85 minutes. I've never done that.
Conte after the game said, I know for Tottenham it will be a season of work, hard work. He certainly worked hard this first month. Anthony, before we talk about the transfer window, it's been a very big week for you. Blue will be back in 2022 and tickets are available now.
Yeah, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium was closed that year. Oh, mate, could you imagine me at the Spurs Stadium? I would love it. I'd get a picture next to Harry Winks' seat like that.
Get him on stage, then.
I'll get him on stage with us, mate.
All joking aside, though, Ant, you must be excited to be back.
Yeah, I'm very excited. You know, I think the lads, we all do a great profession, whether it's acting, singing, different types of work. It's what we love. It's my passion, and I think that to be able to go on next year and do a tour with the lads is you know, it's been 17 years since our last proper arena tour, so I'm excited.
You might miss our championship winning season going on tour.
Oh, could you imagine? It'll be my luck, wouldn't it? It'll be my luck. We'll end up winning the Champions League and I'll be on stage in Birmingham or something.
Anthony, serious question for you. Serious question for you. This is not a wind-up. With the players that are playing out their skin at the moment, the likes of Ben Davies in the Tottenham side at the moment, with these players playing so well and giving Antonio Conte exactly what he wants and getting us to the results, will we do much business in the January transfer window?
Have to. We got to. We need.
In what areas?
We need a striker, Chris. We need another striker because the way I'm seeing Kane play now, and he has been getting involved in a lot more games since Conte's arrival, is he is dropping back in that number 10 role. You know how Rooney did towards not the latter part of his career, but in his late 20s. That's where I think Kane blossoms. If he's got runners off him, like Son, like a Lucas, we need another proper number 9. We need an attacking midfielder, i.e., someone that can bit of creativity, and we need another centre half. Them three in the spine, that spine there in the team.
We need another centre mid. We can't have Dele Alli, Ndombele and Winks.
No, that's what
we can't rely on them. We can't rely on them. I'm sorry, we can't.
We need an attacking mid
or somebody who's a progressive ball carrier who can pass between the lines. As much as I love Højbjerg, and this is a debate that's come up recently, I'll never ever badmouth Højbjerg because of his attitude, and particularly when we were going through a bad time under Jose, he was always one player that he wants to bleed for the shirt. But let's have it right. We could do better there with his quality on the ball. I mean, today he didn't have a great game. His passing is so wayward, and we need someone who can create and pass through the lines in midfield. We've been linked with a few midfielders. Brozovic is the one that keeps coming up from Inter Milan. But for me, again, due to the lack of options, that is a key area that arguably the first signing we need to make, and a striker as well, of course, in a centre.
But boys, I think we need someone that's been there and done it. I mean, I know I read the other week about Spurs want the whole young, the young lads to buy young and embed them in and stuff. But I can't. I want someone that's been there, done it. Like a Brozovic. Like I've read Perisic as well. Someone that's won Champions Leagues, that's won championships, that's won FA Cups, league. You know what I mean? Someone that's been there, and that's what we haven't had for years. Do you know what I'm saying? We've said it all the time. The last proper world-class player we signed was Jurgen Klinsmann.
Yeah. Darren,
let's come to you.
Sorry. Yeah, absolutely right. We've said this many times, Ant. Yeah. Darren, let's come to you.
Just a world-class player in his prime was Jurgen Klinsmann. I don't care what
exactly.
Yeah, without doubt. Darren, let's come to you. What is realistic in the January transfer window for Tottenham Hotspur? And out of the starting 11 that play today, who needs to be replaced to improve the squad or the team?
Okay, what's realistic with Daniel Levy? It's a horrible, scary dynamic to try and work out, because what we would want is what everyone just said. We need the three down the spine. That's exactly where we would need to strengthen. Now, looking at the 11 we had today, starting 11, I think for me, one that would come out would be Davinson Sanchez. But in me, I feel Romero goes in there. And then you look at what the back three is, and I still feel there needs to be one more in there. Because for me, I know people have their things about Eric Dyer, yay or nay. I think just like I'm talking about Harry Kane at the top, he needs competition, not someone who be there to back up, someone who's there to take his place. I think Eric Dyer needs the same. He needs someone there who is there to take his place. And then the same in midfield, as Frank just said about Højbjerg. He is a lovely player who breaks down and he's passionate and he bleeds for the shirt, just like a Lucas Moura is up front. But when they get dropped, these are the type of players who will work harder. They're not going to sulk. So he's happy to have someone in front of him take his place to work. So if I'm looking at the 11, where I'm looking to strengthen it, I'd look at a centre-half right now, and I'm looking at centre midfield and a striker. Realistically, I think we're only going to get 2 out of that 3. If I had to prioritise, I'm going for a striker and I'm going for the centre mid. Reason why I would do that, because I think Romero coming in with Eric Dyer there, I think you can make shift around them and make that work. But I think in the middle of the park, we can't have Dele Alli, Ndombele and Winks on the bench and think anyone is going to believe when they come on, they're doing anything. And I would sacrifice all 3 of them for one. I would honestly do that.
That's a great shout, Dal. That's a great shout, mate.
I agree.
Ricky, same question to you. What is realistic for Spurs? Because most Spurs fans I talk to, they seem to be thinking that we are signing, hell of a lot of players in January. Personally, I don't.
I like I said earlier, Chris, I think it'll be, guaranteed 1, but like at the most 3, if we're really lucky. And I think that they've got to use the advantage of a couple of these leagues needing money as well, and use the January transfer period to our benefit. A lot of teams are going to wait until the summer to buy certain players, but I think if we can get ahead of them. And especially over the years, we've missed out in January. Like Sabitzer, for instance, for an example. Like we could have got him in January, but then we didn't pull the plug. And we didn't, we was like, we'll wait until the summer. We might get him 2 mil, 5 mil cheaper or something. And then we end up losing out on him altogether. So I think they've got to use the fact that certain leagues like France and Italy and Spain, they are looking for money. They are like, they need money so that their club can function. So I think we've got to be really smart. It's not so much about the names for me. It's about the right acquisition for the right position. Like getting the right player who wants to come, who wants to bleed for the shirt, who wants to go and achieve big things with Tottenham. Not a stepping stone. Not I'm just going to come and get paid however much per week. Do you know what I mean? And play Fortnite for the rest of it. Like we don't need those players. We need players that come in straight away and kind of want to kind of rip this team to bits and show everybody what they're about. I think a position that we haven't spoke about as yet, I don't think we're going to do it in January, but I think one of the positions that we haven't spoken about as yet is a second right wing back, especially now that we're playing wing backs. I don't think Doherty is going to be the man. We haven't seen him be the man since he's turned up. And I think even he would admit that he hasn't shown us anything. He hasn't shown us anything to get behind him. Do you know what I mean? The only thing that we got behind when we signed him was his stats from Wolves. And that's what we got behind, and we hoped. And I hoped that we had a Stevie Carr regen, but we really haven't. Do you know what I mean? So I think getting rid of him and bringing somebody else in to...
I'd get Lamptey,
Lamptey.
How much is he going to cost, though? 40, 50 mil?
I would have loved Dumfries, the Dutch player. I would have loved him. He's gone to Inter Milan right now. I thought he was everything that we needed at right back, stroke right wing back. But Lamptey, I think, is a great shout. He probably is going to cost 40 million, 50 million because he's in the Premier League. Yeah, he's English.
He's young.
Premier League, young. you know, Brighton don't want to get rid
But
of
he
him.
knows the Prem. This is what I'm saying, Rick. Like, sorry
It'd be a
to cut
great
you there,
signing, and it'd be a great
He
signing.
would.
He would.
He's young.
He would.
He's, as you said, he's English. He's bright. He's energetic. And when I've seen Brighton play, all right, they haven't got a striker, you know. But
He's
the
a
way
handful.
Lancey bombs up that right-hand side is unbelievable. He would be that player that would get us Spurs fans off our seats all the time.
Boys, can I throw one a crazy one out there? Because I thought about this a couple of days ago. The way Conte trains teams and what he does with players, just think Victor Moses, as I say this, would you chance just for a game to see the system play burnt wine there?
I said this the other night, didn't I?
Yeah.
He did.
I did say this. I did. I actually used him as an option above Doherty. I completely forget in my head that Doherty is an option because let's have it right, he's not in the manager's faults. He didn't get picked in front of Tanganga today. His natural position that's his strongest position in a back five or three, whatever, as a wing back. And that's a great point. I totally agree. And I would try him there because he's sort of done it under Jose a bit, Darren, didn't he? So he's almost playing as a wing back. He's got an engine. He has got quality on the ball, or some quality, and I think that's an interesting point. I agree.
That's a great
because
shot.
Defensively, he works. He's going to track his runner all the way back. He's that kind of player. And right now, we haven't got the goal in him. He hasn't found that magic that we wanted to get the goal. But he would keep a left back occupied for 90 minutes all day long. You would always be looking over his shoulder to find where is he. And I'd give it a go.
Dal, you know what? I actually thought that he would play right wing back against Moura. I know he wasn't in the squad. He had a little knock or he was ill or whatever the case may be. But I thought, because I don't have Doherty in my head no more, as a right back or as a right wing back or as a starter. So I actually had Bergwijn in my head. I'd be like, I would have played him right wing back, given Sessegnon left wing back, and like, let's see what happens. You know,
maybe do it against Ren. I don't know. I think great shot.
Ren is probably too big of a game for us right now because it's make or break right now. And we've got a goal difference to worry about because Vitesse are playing Moura. They know that if they score as many goals as they could against them, that they'll probably go through. So we've got a lot to juggle against Ren. So I think he'll probably go strong. First team again.
Boys, I want to throw a name out there, man, because I haven't seen much of him. So I'm not going to sit here and judge the boy. But Brian Gill, I mean... Yeah. A lot of expectations from the lad, and I know obviously I think Frank mentioned today he's unwell, the lad, so we wish him better. But previous to that, I've not seen anything about him. I want to be enlightened. I want to be excited for this kid, but I haven't seen anything to make me get excited. Does that worry you?
I think this is another player, Anthony, that needs time, and I know you hate that phrase of giving these players time because. You're like me. We want to see instant success. We want to see players come in and thriving in a Tottenham Hotspur shirt. But I think that Brian Hill will be one of those players that is just going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, I mean,
Chris.
But you can see it, Cost. You can see it. Like, you know, we know that he's young. We know that he's, again, adapting to the English Premier League as well as a different language. There's bags of ability in him. But he does need to be brought on. He's lightweight as well. We've seen him just be shoved off of a ball right now. So we're not getting to see the best bits of him. And especially when there's like high expectancy of him right now, we're not getting to see it. He's trying really hard to do what he can do and to be dynamic, but it's not really come off as yet. And he's had bits and pieces of stop-starty. So he's had a niggle here or he's pulled up with an injury there. And when he has started to get forward, like something stops him right now. So I wouldn't put too much pressure on him. He does need to be bed in. And I think he does need to hit the gym and work on that upper body strength so that he can wriggle and, you know, and be the magician that is there for him to be. But
how long do you give him, though?
He's positive. Bro, sometimes we have to be patient with these players. You know, you got to remember that a lot of players peak at different times. You know, a lot of players, you know, we could look at Mbappe right now and go, all right, cool. At 18, 19, he was setting the world alight. But that's a rarity in the football world, bro. You know, so we've got to give him time to bed in. Language, you know, understanding. He's had a change in manager as well.
I'm not, the only thing I'll say, chaps, the only thing I'll say is that we spent a lot of money on him. If you valued the men at around 15 million, the transfer really was about £40 million. Now, were a side when we signed him that needed instant improvement. We needed players to come in and start for that quality of money or the amount of money that we've spent there. And I think that's the only frustrating aspect, because I get he's a star of tomorrow. I've seen him play a lot for the Spain under-21s. I saw him in the Olympics. There's clearly ability there. But I just feel perhaps that money could have been spent on a player to come in and improve the 11, considering where we've been. We're trying to get back to where we were. And I don't think we've got time, really, have we?
I know.
I agree.
That's what I'm saying. We bought Pepe Sarr, who I've been told is absolutely amazing for Mets. And I'm looking forward to seeing this kid when he does come to the club in the summer or after the summer for next season. But it's another league.
The thing is, though, Anne, I think that Antonio Conte will be completely different, because he will be demanding a lot from these players where other managers hasn't demanded that much. Because, as I said earlier, you see him on the touchline. He's constantly shouting. He's constantly demanding all the time. And I think he's going to get the best out of some of these players.
But what I'm saying is Pepe Sarr wasn't his signing, though. So if he comes to Spurs ready to work hard and Conte don't fancy him, that's another unfortunate, sliding doors opportunity moment gone. Do you see what I'm saying? So
one of the biggest frustrations of the summer just gone was that we only brought in 2 players to improve our first 11.
Yeah, exactly.
The first one was Romero, and then on deadline day we brought in Royal. Yeah. So we only brought in, that was my biggest frustration, that we only brought in 2 players that to improve our first 11. But we've got to look at where they're going. So they're bringing in these young ones. Now, Papa Sarr, okay, for instance, he's been allowed to go back to Mets, have a year on loan. In that year on loan, he's got no real hard back pressure to learn the English language. He's actually got a year to work out what he wants to do, to work out where his house is, to work out all these little niggles that sometimes distract a player. He's got a year at Mets to kind of, even if it's build up strength, build up fitness, whatever the case may be, he's got all this year to work it out so that when he does come in, he can come in to try and affect the first 11 and the first team. So Gil hasn't had that. He hasn't had that. He's been asked, like you said, because of the money that's been paid, to come in and perform straight away. It's going to take time with these gems. It's going to take time. But like Chris said, with Conte being that demanding, we're going to see it quicker than we would have under anybody else.
We need to sign 28, 29-year-olds now. I'm sorry, we do. We need to sign players at their peak.
We've
done the youth. We've spent a lot on youth. We've brought the average squad age down quite significantly, and now I don't want to hear any of this player tomorrow rubbish that we get. That's been the mandate, hasn't it? Barring this last window, it's been buy young with sell on potential. We've got to get away from that. We need experience, and if he does want to veer at Inter Milan, who's 29 years old or whatever, he will be ready to play and affect the first 11. It won't be, we'll be good in 2 years. We haven't got 2 years. We need to get back in the Champions League. We do. We need to get back in the top 4.
But Frank, just to give you another side of that argument, we bought Doherty at 28, okay? Premier League proven, stats that were flying off the chart, only behind Trent Alexander-Arnold, and he's come in and what has he done?
Never played in a back three, though, in his defence, and then his confidence was evaporated because he's not a player in a 4-man defence, and it's been a mixture. And in some cases as well, Rick, I just think the step up has been too big for Doherty. It's the biggest club he's ever played at. He was quite a big fish in that pond at Wolves because he'd been there for quite a number of years. And I get that. I totally, I understand. I was actually quite happy when we signed Doherty.
So was I.
And again, typically, he always put in a shift against us. He scored against us at a new stadium. And unfortunately, you just got to accept, Ricky, that some of these players get Spurs. Unfortunately.
Well, Frank, I asked earlier who would be the winners under Conte. Who will be the losers? Who will be the players that he simply cannot improve and they need to go?
Well, by what we've seen so far with his selections, Dele Alli, Ndombele, Doherty, they're the 3 that stand out. They've not really had a kick, have they? Ndombele's had a few moments as a sub. Celso's been injured. Last couple of games, he's not been available. I think when he's back to full fitness, it'll be interesting to see. We can't really judge him yet on what we've seen. But yeah, those are the 3 that stand out at the moment, particularly Dele and Ndombele, because he obviously doesn't trust them.
Do you know, Anthony? I am very frustrated with Lo Celso. You know, what is Lo Celso's best position? And if Lo Celso was to come into the team in today's starting lineup, who did he come in for?
That's what I'm saying. Do you drop Skipp? He's been brilliant. Do you drop Højbjerg because he plays with a bit of heart and passion? Who do you drop? This is what I'm saying. Do you drop Lucas? You know, he scored a cracking goal today. Obviously, his numbers are not great, but again, he plays with effort and passion. So I think Lo Celso's one of them players that I'll never know his best position. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to throw it out to the floor. I mean,
it's in a 3. It's the left side of a 4-3-3 in a 3, like for Argentina. That's his best position, but I can't see him playing in a 2 man midfield.
I can't see it either, Frank.
I can't see him playing as the third forward attacker. I don't think he's perhaps dynamic enough. But we'll see. Again, I keep saying it. These players now, they're working with Antonio Conte, one of the best managers in the world in his managerial prime, with that passion. And if that doesn't get you up for it and make you want to improve, then I don't know what will.
But Frank, just to go off that point, I think what we fell into in the transfer market is that we were buying a lot of players that no one knew where their best position was. And I think we bought too many players that could play a number of roles. And I think that's why our squad is so unbalanced. Like, you look at Lo Celso, you look at Ndombele, Ali, like, they have no real position where you go, oh, they're a guaranteed this, they're a guaranteed that. They just float around positions right now. And you go, that's not what we need right now. And for me, if I was Højbjerg and Skipp right now, I'd be a little bit concerned about this transfer window, because that's the position that would be at the biggest threat, because their creative spark isn't the best. And that's where I'll be looking to strength. Like, we look at Gil. I don't know where he fits into this Tottenham team anymore. And I think he is being a victim of the managerial change, but also
the change of structure and formation. There
you go. And a chairman that bought in a certain idea and then went, okay, this is the type of player we need to invest in. And Pape Sarr, he falls into a different category because he's a workhorse in that middle end. He's an absolute workhorse. And
no, I'm not disputing that, mate.
Oh no, totally, no. I heard your issue though, that he may not be a Conte signing, but I think what we're looking at is the attitudes. If he comes with the right attitude, he can push on. I think with Gil, I don't know where he plays, and I think Conte probably is having the same debate we're having, because who do you drop to put him in for? And when you put him in, what does he bring? And I think our signings rightly have to be proven players. We know the position that they play. We know the job we want them to do. And I think Conte proved that when he wanted to buy Giroud when he was at Inter. He could have got any striker at Inter at that point, but he wanted Giroud because he knew what he wanted. And I think that's what we've got to do in this transfer window. Don't go out and buy him players that you think he wants. Buy what he wants. Get him exactly what he wants, and we'll have a go.
Exactly. You're spot on, mate. Spot on. I think we're sort of half. We are agreeing with what you're saying. But what I mean is, I don't mind. We don't mind buying young. Not a problem. But it's the experience. You know, I think Frank mentioned De Vrij. What did you say his name? De Vrij.
Yeah,
Romero's young as well, guys. He's still young himself.
Exactly. But what I'm trying to say is, Dale, he seems like a big.
He's got experience. He's played Champions League. He's won the Copa America. So he's a good youngster. Fantastic.
And he's very clear where he plays. We know the job he does.
Exactly. And he played the right side of a back. When he played the right side of a back three at Atlanta, that underlapping role, ball carrying centre half. So although we signed him and he started with Nuno, it's almost tied in there with Conte, because that is his perfect position, the right side of a back three. So I agree with all of that, Darren.
Just before we talk about the very busy rest of December, Ricky, let's start with you. Hugo Lloris is out of contract at the end of this season, which will take him up to 10 years at the club. Not won a trophy, sadly, with Spurs. Would you like to see him in a Tottenham Hotspur shirt next year, and perhaps given even a 1 or 2 year contract?
I would love it. I think it's going to be one of the biggest misses that we're not going to realise until he's gone. Do you know what I mean? I think, he's been with us through thick and thin, and I think we've been with him through a lot of issues, ups and downs, and injuries as well. So I think I still think he's a world-class keeper. I still think he's dynamite, and I think if we lose him, if we get rid of him, I think it's hard to say who's gonna come in to fill his boots. Do you know what I mean? And we haven't been the best at replacing strong assets, as we all know. Carl Walker, Danny Rose, Ericsson, Modric. Like, we could go on and on and on. We could go on all day, you know what I mean, about the replacements that come in to pick up the mantle after a certain person has left. So I think, especially for the next year or two, I think if we keep him and we re-sign him and he wants to stay, then I think we can save ourselves 20, 30 mil going out on a unproven, unknown keeper. Do you know what I mean? So I would love him to stay. I think Hugo is, you know, I love him to bits. I think he's class. I think, you know, I look back at those days against Borussia Dortmund. You know, we was playing Borussia Dortmund every year for a long time, and he was outstanding in Champions Leagues at times.
Yep.
He's saved us many a time, you know. So I would love him to stay. I would love him to stay because we're on this progression right now. And under Conte, I would love him to, with the captain's armband on, to lift the trophy for Tottenham Hotspur. Do you know what I mean? And let him, you know, like, finish on a high. I don't want him to finish like this. I want him to finish on a high, lifting the trophy for Spurs and having that joy. Do you know what I mean? Because he deserves it, as well as a couple of people in that squad. He deserves it, as well as all of us lot. He definitely deserves to be able to go up them stairs at Wembley and lift a trophy.
Oh, we definitely deserve it. There's no doubt about that. Frank, when I say the names to you, Henderson, Pickford, and Johnston, they don't seem to be anywhere near the quality of Hugo Lloris. Do you agree?
Of course. Do you know what it is? It's the kicking aspect. I mean, Hugo Lloris's distribution is awful. He was slicing kicks at Brentford today. There was a couple of dodgy ones. His actual goalkeeping, for me, he's as good as Alisson. He's as good as Ederson. For me, he's truly elite. He's in that top bracket of world class when it comes to reaction saves, shot stopping. He's got better at dominating his area. He's like a cat. His reactions are phenomenal. However, Conte ball, if you look at prime Inter Milan Conte ball, Chelsea as well, he likes to play around the back three with the keeper, you know, to draw the press out and play through the lines or play around the press. And Hugo can't do that. However, that is, for me, he's in the pecking order of what positions need upgrading. A goalkeeper, for me, at the moment, with the levels that he's playing, it isn't a priority. We need 5 or 6 before we even look at the goalkeeper situation. And to get a top-class goalkeeper who can do the whole lot with his feet as well, is going to cost £60 million.
Easy.
Like Alisson, easy. I don't want Pickford. No way.
No,
too shaky for me. His kicking's fantastic. His actual keeping is too shaky. His positioning's terrible at times. I mean, he's good for England, but for Everton, no thanks. Dean Henderson, he hasn't been playing. He's not played first team football for how long now? And Sam Johnson, really? Johnston from West Brom? No. So, although I understand a part of Conte ball and his plans are, we do need a goalkeeper who's good with his feet. We need to sign him up for another year, Hugo, if he wants to stay. Put that position to bed until, you know, a few windows time for me.
Anthony, if Hugo Lloris doesn't sign an extension on his contract in the summer, what do Tottenham do? How do we replace a goalkeeper of that calibre?
It's hard, mate. It's hard. Who's out
Captain
there?
as well.
Who's out there? What's that?
Captain as well.
He's a captain, you know. But who's out there? That's of A, his quality, and B, his calibre. Because, forgive me if I'm wrong, there's no one that screams out for me. I think, am I right in saying we were looking at the Lyon keeper? Is it the Lyon keeper? Frank will know. Is it?
No, we were linked with Mike Magan, weren't we? That he was the Lyon keeper.
Where's he?
He went to Italy.
AC Milan.
He went to AC.
Milan.
So we missed out on him, but he was one that we were looking at. And there's been, listen, all the names linked, if we're being totally honest, they're not on Hugo's level when it comes to the actual keeping side of the goalkeeping. Not one of them is on his level or near his
best
level.
goalkeeper for me in the Premier League era in 30 years.
There's only one that steps up to his level for me, and that's Jan Oblak at Atletico Madrid. He's the only one, but I don't think we're going to get him. I think that's bundles and bundles of money. I'll tell you,
if we could get him if we was in the Champions League. Because you guarantee Champions League football.
Yeah.
It's also the money side of things. It's going to be expensive to replace Hugo adequately.
Frank, if we're in the Champions League and we've got Antonio Conte as our manager and hopefully Levy backs him, we fingers crossed and praying, then who knows where he could take us. I'm not saying we're going to go out there and win everything, because we probably won't. But we have to go back to competing where we was under Pochettino, because otherwise, what's the point of bringing Conte in? If we're not going to go and compete, do you know what I mean? Listen, we're 4, 5 points behind fourth.
Yeah.
And look how bad we've been playing prior to Conte. So, you know, if Conte was our manager at the beginning of the season, who knows where we would be?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Who knows?
We're only 10 points away from the league leaders. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
You're getting a bit ahead of
Chris, if
yourself now,
we
Chris.
win our game in hand, well, guys, if we win our game in hand, we go 5 points behind Chelsea at this stage of the
And
season.
that's mental.
That is mental. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And look how we're playing. You know what I mean? Look how we've played, and you go, and we're still in a shout for everything. Would anyone keep our number 2 though? If we're looking at goalkeeper, yeah. But then,
I'm not having him, Dal. I'm not having him.
you know what? It's funny.
Go
Because
on.
what Frank was saying
Dal.
about the kicking side of Conte ball and how we want to play, he has that, but he doesn't have the other side of the game. And I think it depends what we're willing to sacrifice, because the goalkeeping options are not great out there right now.
There's
And
nothing.
if he can be trained to be a better goalkeeper, because obviously he had the natural footballing fee, could he be worth investing? Because he's been bought here for a purpose. He's been bought maybe to learn off Luis for this season and maybe another year and see how that plays out. So there may be a project already happening, gentlemen, that we may reap the benefits of in a year's time. But I would definitely try and get Hugo to sign another year. That would be my option.
Yeah, I do. I'm with you, mate. I'm with you.
Now, Ricky, let's start with you. It's a very busy December. We've already played 2 games in December already, 2 wins. We've now got the next game in the Europa Conference League. We've got to win this game in order to play in the playoff game in the next stage. And then we've got 5 Premier League games against Brighton, Leicester, Liverpool, Palace and Southampton. And we've also got this Carabao Cup tie at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium 3 days before Christmas against West Ham United. If we win that game, we're through to the semi-finals of the competition. Of course, we got to the final earlier this year that we of course lost to Manchester City. Where does Antonio Conte prioritise? And you know, the likes of Harry Kane, like I said earlier, Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, you know, all the first team players that you'd want in your team to win football matches. Are these players going to be burnt out by playing in all these games during this month?
Okay, so where to prioritise? I think firstly, the first place to prioritise, and I think where Conte will be prioritising, is the next game. He's going to keep it simple. Next game, because he demands everything 127,000% out of you in the next game. So we can only go game by game underneath him, and we can only put these building blocks that we're seeing, you know, and these patterns of play that we're seeing into fruition and keep it moving. Of course, the West Ham game is going to be a massive game. But I think that we're going to have a lot more grit and a lot more fight, as Dal was talking about earlier, that he saw today in the game. So I think it's going to be a totally different game to when we played the Hammers in the league. But they are on a good run of form. They've got a good momentum with them, West Ham. So I think it's going to be a battle. Are the players going to be burnt out
against us?
Yeah, of course. But that's part of the reason what frustrates me, because you know, West Ham playing us has always been their cup final, whereas I think we need a little bit of that mentality, being like, yo, this is our cup. You know what I mean? Like, let's go out there to win a cup final against West Ham as well. Do you know what I mean? So I would hope that with Conte in charge and you know, moving in the direction that we're moving in, that would be in place at least. When we play them. And are the players going to be burnt out? It's all about management. It's all about coaching. You know, so for instance, tomorrow, whether the boys have got a day off or they've got the morning off, for instance, and then they train in the afternoon. You know, working on the sports science and the recovery graphs and stuff like that. I think that's what comes into play, because we know that we only have one strong 11 right now. I think that game against Moura showed it to us that once you change an 11, that we've got problems. So it's going to be mix and match, and it's going to be, of course, that 11 that played against Brentford, because I'm including Royale. Those are our strongest 11, and those are going to be relied upon. But if, for instance, Reguilon is feeling a tight hamstring or Royale is a little bit ill, then we're going to have to replace those in the games. Do you know what I mean? And go for it. And those players that do come in, they've got to at least have the mentality of, let me seize my chance. Do you know what I mean? This is an opportunity for me to kind of put the memories of Moura and all the bad performances in the past behind me, and let me show this manager, the team, the fans, the club that I'm worth being here. If that happens, I think all of us will be happy. If they come in and flop, then I think it will just say to us what it's been saying all season, that some of these players need to get out the door. So it's all about management, bro. And you know when we play every couple of days, we normally have a good run. Do you know what I mean? We've normally had a good run. I remember under Poch when we was playing every couple of days, that the fitness was high. You know what I mean? The boys were going for it. And when we dropped out of a competition and we had one game a week, that's when I saw dips in our performance and in our energy levels. So let's go with it game by game, bro. And let's go to win every single game. Why not? Why not? Let's go.
Frank, let's come to you. Antonio Conte is a sort of manager. He will even want to win every single friendly. So when you've got competitive competitions like the Europa Conference League, who I know a lot of Tottenham fans don't particularly like, but we're in it. And my belief is, if you win in it, take it seriously and go on to win the competition. He will want to win that competition. He will also want to win the Carabao Cup. He will also want the best league position this season to take us to Champions League football this season. Surely, if you're Antonio Conte, you'd be looking at that West Ham game thinking, if we can win that game, we are through to a two-legged semi-final with a real chance to go through to the final and perhaps lift a trophy for the first time since 2008. You know, he would go down as a Tottenham Hotspur legend if he could lift a trophy for Spurs, certainly in his first year.
I'd prefer the Carabao Cup to the Europa Conference League because, as I've said before, we will not get any acknowledgement or recognition or any plaudits for winning the Conference League. It gets you, where does it end up? It gets you in the Europa League. Conte will be looking at the Champions League. So I agree we need a trophy. I'd like to see us go for the League Cup. We've got a tough week, though, Chris, because we've got Liverpool the 18th and then we've got West Ham on the 22nd. So that balance, that juggling act that he's going to have to do there, or the rotation, is going to be very interesting. It's going to be tough because, again, the depth in his squad there's not a lot of quality as you go through as you take out the starting 11 and you go to the next sort of set of starting 11. The quality isn't there in lots of places. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. I personally, and there's been a lot of talk of this on Twitter, what to do about Rennes. What do you do? Do you go strong against Rennes in the hope that obviously we progress, or do we save it for Brighton? That is, again, a conundrum for him because a win against Brighton away, for me, would be significantly more important than beating Rennes and progressing in the Conference League, because that essentially puts us we're in the mix already, but the top four race, it's on. So these are all questions that only Antonio Conte can answer because he's the manager, he makes the decisions and he picks the teams. But it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be tough, Chris, in this congested period of the balance of rotation.
Anthony, let's come to you. Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, do they play in all these games? You know, seven games left in the month of December. And then, of course, January is very busy as well.
Yeah. In answer to your question, Chris, they have to play. We've got no one else. As we've said before, our squad is very, very thin. Do you trust the likes of some of the players on the bench to come on and change a game? No, it's never going to happen. So, listen, they've got to play until they can't, unfortunately, until January comes when we can try and put some new bodies into the squad, and new blood into the squad, I mean.
Darren, are you slightly...
Yeah, go on.
Sorry, go on, Ant, go on.
No, go on. Ask Darren and ask the question.
Darren, I was going to ask... are you worried the fact that when we do have the odd injury or, players are suspended or not playing for whatever reason, that the likes of Dele Alli and Tanguy Ndombele, who are not perhaps 100% committed or given enough for Antonio Conte, are you worried about this situation and do you think it will happen very soon?
I'm not going to allow it to worry me because we have a system right now. And I think in having the system, if they're not doing it, then we're going to have to work around that system and other people are going to have to step up to the plate. I feel that with the training method that they're going through now, it's going to become very apparent who wants it, who doesn't want it. And I believe that if these players also, this is something to think about as well, December is going to be very important to the players who want to leave. If they want to leave, They've got to put in a shift as well. This is their opportunity to get out. So it may work in our favour if these guys have to step in for 1 or 2 games in December, because it's a massive showpiece for them. And hopefully it works in our favour. So I'm going to go with that ideology.
Darren, what are your thoughts on the Europa Conference League? Would you like to see Tottenham go on to win it, or would you like us to go out of it?
Right now, in what I'm calling the Conte project, I would play our second 11 and I would say to them, you put us in this mess, you get us out of this mess. And if they want to win it, the second 11 will win it. That's what I would do. I would treat the Brighton game, the league game, keep my first 11 fit for that, and say the second 11, you don't want to be in this game, you want to be in the Brighton game, work your magic, and I can swap you either way. That's how I'd use it. I'd play the 2 11s against each other. That's what I would do.
Right, last question for you all. Ricky, let's start with you. Your score prediction for the Rennes game on Thursday in the Europa Conference League, the position you think that Tottenham will finish at the end of the season, and trophy or no trophy.
He doesn't go in a soft, does he? No one will do. Bullets? Gee whiz. It's my debut. Give me a chance.
Oh, goodness. All right. So
come on, Rick, I thought you were positive tonight.
I know, but it was all of them. It was all of them. I thought it was just going to be Rennes, but like it was all of them all at one time. Okay, so against Rennes, you already know I'm going for a Spurs win, and I'm gonna go 3-1. 3-1 Spurs win. And then where are we going to finish? Oh, let me leave that until last. Yes, I do think we're going to pick up a trophy. I do. I think Conte's a winner. I think he's going to fire him up, and he's going to demand everything from him. So I think we're definitely going to. Oh, it's so hard to talk. We're definitely going to go for it. We're definitely going to go for it, and we're going to see fight in our performances in those cup games. So I'm going to say, yes, we're going to finish with a trophy. And I'm going to say the league position. Oh, it's so tough. 5th. You reckon 5th? See, I had 5th in my head, but...
Well, just say it then, innit?
That's what I'm going to say. 4th. I can't say it, Cost. I can't. Oh, do you know what? They will finish 5th. Man City will win the Champions League, and that Champions League spot will get pushed down to 5th. Bang, we're back in the Champions League. There you go.
Frank, what about you?
Against Rennes, it could be anything. It definitely depends on the starting 11. Whether he decides to go strong. If he does go strong, I think we win probably 3-1, 2-1. If he goes weak, it could be anything. I think league position, top 6. For me, it's very dependent on what happens in January. If we sign, again, 2 or 3 quality additions, that could strengthen our case for top 4. But at this moment in time, I'm going to look at it and say top 6. I mean, it's a long old season, and it all depends on injuries and teams around you. It's so hard to predict. It really is. But I just think that I'd like to say top 4, but I'm not convinced, Chris, just yet. I'm not. As I said, these next 3 games will tell us a lot more about where we're at. And where we'll be, in my opinion, because they're tough games or tougher games than we've had. So, and I don't know. I'd like to think we win a trophy. I don't know. I can't tell you because it's Tottenham. But again, we've all said it. Antonio Conte will win a trophy this season. There is an opportunity with the League Cup. West Ham are a tough side for anyone at the moment. We can get through that. Who knows? But listen, I'd like to be saying top 4 and a trophy, but I don't think that's realistic for where we're at the moment, regardless of Conte. So we'll see, Chris.
Frank, surely though on Thursday you expect him to go strong, don't you, in such an important game?
I don't know, because it depends on what he's prioritising, because Brighton away is tough. And we beat Brighton away again. We go into the Leicester and the Liverpool games in a position of strength in that top 4 race. And I understand what you're saying. He's a winner. He's going to want to win a trophy. But again, this is literally a bottom. You get Europa League for winning this trophy. And I know you could say the same about the League Cup, but the League Cup's got an air of tradition in English football. It's one of the big 3 major honours you can win in England. And it's a cup with rich history. This Conference League, again, it's a load of rubbish. Let's be totally honest here. You can say it's a trophy. I get that. But it is a second rate. It's the least of the priority list for me personally. And how things have fallen and what the league table looks like at the moment, I personally would be prioritising the league over this game on Thursday. I would.
Anthony, how are you feeling? You feeling confident?
What, for Rennes on Thursday?
Lifting trophies, top 4? Ren on Thursday. The whole lot of them,
Chris,
Anthony.
it's
Are you feeling confident?
Chris, I love
Just life in general.
much,
Just
man.
everything in general.
I'm just annoyed with anything. I think.
Have we got Anthony on tonight, or have we got Rantony on tonight? What is it?
No, you've got his brother. You've got Rantony. I just, if you'd have asked me a month ago about the Europa Conference, you know, you and I speak all the time, Chris.
Yeah.
I would have said, yeah, Conte's got to prioritise it. But Frank alluded to it. We ain't got the squad depth good enough to compete in this competition. So for me, the Brighton game at this present time is more important than Thursday.
But don't you think that we surely should have one of the best squads to compete for this Europa Conference? Frank just the competition.
No, Frank's not dissing it. Frank's telling the truth in the fact that we haven't got the squad depth.
We haven't got, and this is how embarrassing it is. We're in that bottom ranked trophy, which is what it is, and the squad players are not pulling up trees. And you know, we should have been qualified by now. So that tells you everything you need to know about the depth in this squad, in my opinion, how they performed in those games in the Europa Conference League against teams like Moura. It's embarrassing.
I know.
Yeah.
As Darren said, if they wanted it, we wouldn't be talking about hopefully trying to beat Ren on Thursday. It should be, okay, we're into the next round. Who have we got? Oh, so-and-so from so-and-so. Or this club from that, you know, that country. But we're not. So, you know, of course I'm praying for a win. But if we don't win, it to me ain't the end of the world. What matters to me is here we go. What matters to me is the fact that Sunday against Brighton is more important, and the West Ham game, because they always turn up against us. And you know what I'm going to say? Certain players for West Ham, and I'm going to shut up, innit? Before I go into it, because the boys know me too well, man.
Anthony, I've got to ask you. I've got to ask you this while you're on. Now, Harry Winks. Do you think that
Chris, just stop, Chris. Stop.
Chris.
No,
Exactly.
because
Listen to Frank.
we've spoken at length so much about Harry Winks on the phone on these chats. Do you think Antonio Conte will get the best out of Harry Winks to be to be playing for England again?
Chris, I'm going to go to bed, mate.
Shut up, mate.
Good night, mate. Night, lads.
Okay, Darren, let's come to you. Same question for you. Not about Harry Winks. The score prediction for Ren. Can we win a trophy this season? And what position will we finish in the league?
All right, I've seen the time. We're going to keep it snappy. We're going to beat Ren 1-0 because it's going to be second 11. We are going to finish 5th in the league because we need a little bit more to boost the squad to get the top 4. And I'm going to go with my head, not my heart. Head's going to say we don't win a trophy. Heart says we will win a trophy.
Brilliant. Well, Darren, thanks so much for joining us tonight. And Ricky mentioned earlier that you've got a new film coming out. Give us more details about that.
It's out. It's in the cinemas right now. It's called Pirates. It's Reggie 8's new movie. If you're into the old school garage world and you remember 99 and Manelian partying, it's a real feel-good nostalgia movie. It's a fun one to watch. So yeah, go and check it out. And cause we all coming to the concert, by the way. You know we're all coming, yeah. this whole room is coming. Just so when
this whole room's coming. More than welcome.
You got to teach us the routine. You got to teach us the one love routine, bro.
Hold on. Let me ask you boys a question. Yeah, Spurs are in the Champions League final, or I'll get you proper good seats at the O2 to come and see me and the boys.
Night, and
I'll tell you now, and
yeah, you know what? I just had somebody.
Do you know what, Anthony? I reckon you'd miss your concert to be there.
Yeah.
No, I've watched Spurs on the side of a stage once. Literally walked off halfway through, and I think we lost that game. I think we lost as well. Yeah. So who was it against? I think it was against Liverpool. Obviously, we lost against them, but yeah.
Well,
I think it was
Anthony,
Eric Edmond. Do you remember Eric Edmond when he scored that cracking goal? Yeah.
Well, Anthony, thanks so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure having you on.
Boys, I love you boys to bits, man. Love you boys.
And Ricky, tell everyone again about your film that's just come out.
Yes, it's The Princess Switch 3 out now on Netflix. Christmas movie. You're going to love it. Jump in. Loads of hijinks, loads of jokes, loads of foolishness. You'll love it. Jump in right now. Out Netflix right this minute.
And Frank, thanks so much for all of your input. You've been absolutely brilliant again tonight.
Thanks for having me back on, Chris. I think I'm on after the Leicester game. That's my next appearance. You know, I love doing a show with you boys. It's good to do one with Darren as well. Me, Ricky, and Ant, we've done many before, many more to come. And it's always best, I say this, to come back on the pods or the YouTube channel, whatever you want to call it, after a win and up the Spurs.
Absolutely. Well, Frank, Ricky, Anthony and Darren, thanks so much for joining us, talking about another win at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Let's hope that Tottenham can get the top 4 position and get back in the Champions League next season. And, of course, lift a trophy that we haven't done since 2008 and get that win against Rennes on Thursday evening. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for all of your input. I'll see you on the next video. Until then, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.